Jam-packed Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, Michigan, Pro-Am Sports presents the first meeting ever between the number 15 Maryland Terrapins and the undefeated and number 9 ranked Michigan Wolverines. Today's interconference game is brought to you by Ford and your local Ford dealers. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by the Detroit Free Press, Michigan's morning newspaper. Hello, everybody. I'm Ray Lane, and along with me, the former great Wolverine quarterback, Dennis Franklin, who will be handling the color this afternoon of a Michigan contest in Michigan's game number 3, Dennis, 2-0, and a lot of the so-called experts were saying just a couple of weeks ago, Michigan will have a so-so team in 85.
Well, I never believed that, Ray, and I don't think Bo Schembechler believed it either. He would just prefer that everybody in the media leave his football team alone and just let them play up to their ability, and you can believe that they have a lot of ability.
Michigan with wins so far over Notre Dame and University of South Carolina last Saturday. That was a blowout. Meanwhile, the Terrapins of Maryland, 2 wins, 1 loss, and that lone loss, the opener against Penn State.
Well, Maryland's got a very strong football team, a very physical football team, and as long as they don't come in making a lot of mistakes, they're going to be very competitive today against Michigan.
They talk about how the Michigan offense will work this year, and I guess you might say, why would the former quarterback say that? It all deals with a fellow by the name of Jim Harbaugh.
Ray, Jim Harbaugh has really matured as a quarterback, and people forget that he was hurt last year after 4 games. But now, whenever he starts and completes a game, his record's 5-1, and his ability to come up with a big play instinctively has really been the key to their success so far this season.
Bo Schembechler has said the key to a successful 1985 is the defense. And leading that defense so far the first 2 weeks is a man up on that line called the Hammer.
Hammerstein is their leading defensive tackler. For a defensive tackle to be up there amongst the linebackers are generally the guys who lead your defense in tackles. Mike is second in tackles. He's got like 13 tackles. And last week against South Carolina, he had 8 tackles, 2 for losses, and 1 interception. So he's been the defensive captain, or the defensive champion 2 weeks in a row.
Which means he also has a pretty good supporting cast. Now let's talk about the Terrapins on offense, and they've got a bruising fullback by the name of Rich Badanek, who can really do some scoring.
Badanek is not a breakaway type runner, Ray. He's the kind of guy that they'll run the ball, give him the ball 20 times a game, and he'll keep busting in there. He's their leading rusher, and he's scored in the last 12 of their 13 games, so he can put the ball across the goal line.
All right, Maryland can score. There's no doubt about that. What about the defense? Well, we see a Maryland defense here a little bit different than what you see in college ball.
It's not very often that you see this defense. It's called a wide tackle 6. And the key to this defense is their 2 interior people, and they've got a great one in Bruce Mesner. He's about 6'6", 260-something pounds. He's got great quickness and great strength. And he's going to really be, it's going to be up to Michigan to double team on him if they're going to be able to run the ball at all.
As Dennis talks about Mesner, and on your program, you'll see he's listed as a left guard, but that's left guard on defense. Now, when we talk about Maryland, Maryland is a rough, tough veteran ball club.
Yes, they are, and I think their secondary is key. They've got 2 brothers back there, the Covington brothers. One of them was all ACC last year, and I think based on the way they come in here today, they're going to play a lot of 3 deep zones and sometimes man-to-man. So it wouldn't surprise me at all to see Michigan try to get the ball to their outstanding wide receiver, Paul Jokic.
Okay, we'll find that out very shortly. Before our opening kickoff, let's take this brief timeout.
Michigan Stadium. Now, as a past subscriber, you can enjoy this kind of college football action all winter long. Now, the teams you want to see from around the state, with Michigan State, Michigan, Western, Eastern, Central, to around the country with Nebraska, Oklahoma, Florida, Texas, and more. If you haven't already, call your local cable system and subscribe to Pass Now. Now, let us join Ray Lane and Dennis Franklin for all the football action at the University of Michigan and the Maryland Terrapins on your Pass-Free Preview Weekend.
All right, Tom Ryan, thank you very much. The Maryland Terrapins have already moved out of the locker room along the sidelines in front of their bench on the far side of the field. And, Denny, we were talking about a wonderful day weather-wise for this intercoastal rivalry, I guess you could say that, the coast of Great Lakes against the East Coast, the Maryland Terrapins. 105,000, that's for sure, on hand here at Michigan Stadium.
Ray, the stage is set, and if you were going to color a coloring book, you couldn't color it any more perfect. It's just absolutely beautiful. There's not a cloud in the sky. All the fans are set. I'm sure that both teams are set, so I'm looking for an outstanding football game myself.
Our fans just noticed the head coach at the University of Maryland, that was Bobby Ross. The Michigan band has performed in their pregame ceremonies, moving now to their respective seats on the near side of the field. Bobby Ross, by the way, in his 4th year as the Michigan team gets ready to be introduced and come out of that tunnel on the far side of the field. Bobby Ross in his 4th year at the University of Maryland and has really rebuilt the program of the Terrapins, walking away with the ACC title a year ago and 2 years ago, and hoping to repeat. They are the pre-season favorites again in 1985 after spending some time as a head coach at the Citadel. Well, you'll see the maize and blue colors here, shirt sleeve weather. Maize and blue colors, the fans of the University of Michigan. Sprinkled among them, of course, the red and white, the colors of the University of Maryland. Maryland opened up with that loss 20-18 at the hands of Penn State, we told you about in our opening. Then bounced back with a big win over Boston College, 31-13. And last week, blanked West Virginia 28-0. The 1985 University of Michigan Wolverines.
You know, it's quite a feeling coming out of that tunnel. I can remember when I was a sophomore, and not even, you know, nowadays a lot of players can play as freshmen, but when I was a sophomore running out of that tunnel, and at that time we only had like 90,000 people in the stands, and I never will ever forget that feeling, the feeling of butterflies, anticipation, and just a lot of pressure on a young athlete coming out trying to perform in front of this tremendous crowd.
Dennis Franklin, I want to say that tunnel has been enlarged a little bit in there. I think there were some guys that used to bounce off the wall and still do to get ready before they come out on the field, don't they?
Yeah, you're right.
Bo Schembechler, 17th year at the University of Michigan, and what a record Bo has had. And as you mentioned, Denny, a couple of weeks ago, all summer long, they were saying Michigan an 84, 6-6 record, including that loss at the Bluebonnet Bowl. Well, they're rebuilding. They're not going to be heard from, and I think he really has surprised a lot of people.
Well, they're built. There's no rebuilding to be done in this program because Bo consistently replaces his star players from year to year. He does an excellent job of recruiting. So, you know, you can talk about rebuilding from year to year, but I don't ever believe that Bo Schembechler has to rebuild because he recruits too well.
And Bo will say one thing as he looks around the nation at some of the scandal going on today in recruiting wars at the various universities. He said, hey, it's easy. Sometimes there's pressure, but you can win with a clean program.
That's very true, Ray. It's just a matter of how you want to approach the situation. And once you establish yourself as a record, or once you establish your team and your consistency and build a record, a winning tradition, it's very easy to go out and compete for the young high school athletes.
There is Keita Covington, number 1. He's back all by himself, standing at the 5-yard line, now moving up to around the 7-yard line. Michigan will be kicking off, and that'll be the job of Rick Sutkowitz, a young sophomore from Troy, Michigan's Country Day High School. So we're getting underway here at the University of Michigan, the Wolverines and the University of Maryland. Covington backing up, and will take it just inside the end zone. Will down it for the automatic touchback, and Maryland will bring it out to the 20-yard line. So once again, the strong leg of Sutkowitz, who's been very impressive at kickoffs in the previous 2 games. So the Maryland Terrapins will go on offense, and it'll be interesting to see what they try to do against the Michigan defense this afternoon, at least in the first half. Gelbaugh, number 8. He's a senior out of Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Bannock getting the call at fullback. Neal is a running back to go with Bannock. And we'll check those receivers for you in just a moment. Abdul Rauf was in motion, and this is Neal on the carry, trying to get outside, and brought down by Todd Schulte, the interior linebacker of the Wolverines. Picked up about 5 on the carry.
Tommy Neal is like their third leading rusher. Not a very big running back, 5'10", roughly 200 pounds. He also is not a breakaway type threat, Ray.
A big line, weight-wise, close to 280 pounds average-wise. Watch for Lem Lynch, the left guard. He is quick and will lead a lot of the blocking assignments, pulling out. Overload on the right side, 2 wide receivers. And going to the outlet, a little swing pass intended for the fullback, Badanic, broken up again by Schulte, the linebacker. Also Moeller over there. Incomplete. It'll be 3rd and 5. Just underway here at the University of Michigan. The Wolverines against the Terrapins of Maryland University. Gelbaugh, not much of a threat as a runner. He'll leave that up to the fellas behind him. They go to the I formation, now go back to that pro set.
I believe Gelbaugh is calling an audible at the line of scrimmage.
Hammerstein jumping around, whether he was drawn off or not. On that left side, you saw 66 almost making contact. Not sure whether he did or not.
I think he did, Ray. It'll be 5 yards against Michigan and probably a first down as well.
You mentioned they went to the audible, then a long count. And Hammerstein that time trying to do a little guesswork and just came across that line of scrimmage.
Apparently Stan Gelbaugh, the quarterback, number 8, there you see Hammerstein come over him. He did make contact, so it was the correct call. But Stan Gelbaugh, he is a veteran quarterback. He's a senior. So if Michigan will give him a certain situation, he will come up to the line and automatic and get them into just the right play for the particular defense that they're seeing.
Maryland with a first down now. 1st and 10. And the pitch, that time, intended for Abdul Rauf. On his fingertips, heard some footsteps and drops it incomplete. And that was Ivan Hicks moving up quickly to make a tackle, but didn't need it.
Gelbaugh has to be careful throwing out into coverage like that. As you see him go back here, he's looking for his wide receiver, number 87, Rauf. But Tony Gant had coverage out there, as well as Ivan Hicks, number 17.
Incomplete pass, ball back at the 30-yard line. 2nd down and 10 for the Terrapins. Wide receivers left and right. There's the pro set in behind Gelbaugh. In motion is Eric Holder, the split end. Neal on the carry, gets the first down up close to the 44-yard line. Finally brought down by Cochran of Michigan. Some good footsteps getting through the line of scrimmage there.
And a very nice 2nd down call. Michigan anticipating, you can see here, the pass. They even had a blitz. The linebackers coming. Number 48, Neal, with great quickness in his feet, picking up the first down.
Neal now has carried twice and picked up a total of 18 yards. He came in this ball game averaging 5.5 yards per carry.
Nice job of following his blocking that time, Ray.
Mark it at the 43-yard line. 1st and 10 for Maryland. Looking for somebody open. Double pumps, and no way. Great defensive effort as Harris, the nose guard, coming in there, forcing a blocker right back into the quarterback, Gelbaugh, and he's down back at the 33-yard line.
Well, the real key to this, Ray, is Gelbaugh is looking for Abdul Rauf again, and he's got double coverage. You see him pump fake there, and you got to give credit to the defensive secondary because he had at least 4 or 5 seconds back there to find his open receiver. There was no one open, and by that time, Billy Harris had a shot at pulling down Gelbaugh, and they sack him for a loss.
Neal on the carry that time, and on the tackle, Garland Rivers coming up quickly. It was 2nd down and 20, and Neal getting it back to the 34-yard line.
Well, once you get in a situation, Ray, of 2nd and 20, it's almost very difficult anyway to pick. What do you call? You know, it's 2nd and 20. You try to hope to catch Michigan off guard and run a draw play, but really you put yourself in such a bad situation by getting the quarterback sacked that it's very difficult now to pick up a first down.
Number 89, Sean Sullivan, at the bottom part of your screen, just checked in. Might be with a pass play, third down and 18. Gelbaugh did not like what he saw as far as the Michigan defense, and we have our first timeout of the afternoon. 12 minutes and 27 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Our ball game just underway and no score. And Maryland facing a third and 18. So Dennis Franklin is a former quarterback. This early in the ball game, you look over a defense, or maybe you didn't get quite the play right that was brought into you. Is that the right thing to do, call timeout this early?
Yeah, it's much better, Ray, to make sure that you're in the proper situation, particularly in a situation like this, third and 18. You don't want to make any mistakes, and being on your own 35-yard line, you also don't want to turn the ball over to Michigan and give them good field position. You'd be much better off running a safe play and coming back with fourth down and punting the ball away rather than turning it over down on your own 35-yard line.
Michigan, by the way, had a fifth back in there, Doug Mallory. He has checked out now, and checking back in is Andy Moeller, a linebacker. So we'll keep an eye and see what Michigan comes up in the way of defense here with a third and 18. Neal has been the busiest runner so far for Maryland, 3 carries and a total of 20 yards.
I don't think Maryland's going to take a chance here. I think they're just going to hand the ball off and, like I say, punt on fourth down.
All right, Sullivan goes in motion. Gelbaugh dropping back very deep. A lot of pressure this time. Leading the way that time, Mark Messner. 6'3", 245-pound defensive tackle for Michigan.
Well, Maryland didn't listen to what I predicted, but Gelbaugh this time is flushed out of the pocket from the pressure inside by Billy Harris, and he's forced right into the hands of Mark Messner, and he does a good job of bringing down Gelbaugh. But I'm sure Maryland, in retrospect, would wish they would have listened to me and just taken it easy and run off tackle and then punted the ball on fourth down.
Darrell Wright all set to punt. A very short punt that bounces around the midfield area. And no chance at all for Giovanni Johnson to make a return. Gets a little bit of a hop for the Terrapins. That'll be down right at the midfield stripe at the 50-yard line. So 11:37 to go in the opening quarter. And Michigan goes on the offense for the first time this afternoon. I tell you, that punt was just about 2 seconds up in the air, slightly better, about 2.5 seconds. Didn't have much on it. A look at the Michigan offensive alignment with White and Wilcher. Wilcher getting his second straight start at tailback. Johnson, Jokic, and Caddis, the receivers. Michigan starting off with great field position. And that was Wilcher on the carry, picked up 3 yards, bangs it down to the 47-yard line, and brought down by the interior linebacker on that left side, Fassett. He's a good one. Leading tackler on this Maryland team, coming to the ball game at 31. And a couple of sacks to his credit. So that'll be second down and 7 for the Wolverines. First time they've had the ball this afternoon. See what they can do with it. And in front of those running backs and receivers, a very active and probably biggest line as Michigan's had in a number of years. Check that. That was not Wilcher on the carry, but rather Jamie Morris. Morris making the first carry for 3 yards. Harbaugh, with his first attempt in the air, decides he's going to run it. And gets inside the 40-yard line. Richie Pettibone coming up along with Shankweiler to make the stop on Harbaugh. Gets it down to the 37.
Ray, that's what I meant when I say Jim Harbaugh has really matured. You can see here, after he fakes off tackle, there's good pressure coming from the Maryland defense, and no support whatsoever. The linebackers had dropped out and dropped deep, and Jimmy just tucked the ball under his arm and picked up the first down. That's very important. Football is a game of first downs. You got to be consistent, and pick up first down.
Michigan has their first down this time. They hand it off to the fullback. Brought down Pettibone is brought down, or rather brings down Perriman on the carry. They got a new number in there for Michigan. It's John Colzar. a freshman out of Westlake, Ohio, number 40. They had him set up at a split end or the flanker position, and he comes out on the left side again for the University of Michigan. So he is getting an early start here this afternoon.
He has played on kickoff returns, to my knowledge, but that's just about it, Ray. I've not seen him play from a offensive set at all.
Originally had him listed maybe as a kickoff returner for 1985. Motion by Michigan, and a 5-yard penalty coming up. They were facing second down and 6. Saw your left guard that time, number 74, Mike Huzar, starting to move on that.
Well, I tell you really what happened, because everybody on the offensive line fired off. It's usually the mistake of the center. He did not snap the ball when Jim Harbaugh called for it, and that's why everybody went off, and Jim didn't have the ball. So I'm going to blame that on the center.
Tabachino? Okay, we'll mark it down.
Bobby Tabachino.
It's a question mark of whether Bobby was going to start today because of a calf problem, a little physical problem. Over the middle, this time to Caddis. The tight end should have enough for the first down. Caddis breaking into the backfield, defensive backfield, beat the linebackers, and finally it was Chuck Fassett, the linebacker, to make the stop from behind.
Eric Caddis, coming into the game, Ray, only had caught one pass, but this is the old tight end delay, and he does a very good job of delaying inside, not letting the linebackers pick him up, and then as soon as he breaks across the middle, Jimmy does a nice job of throwing the ball, and he picks up a first down.
Second first down for Michigan at the 25-yard line of Maryland. No score in the ball game. 1st and 10, Wolverines. Jamie Moore straight ahead, got 5. Drives it down to the 20-yard line. Brought down by Mesner. That's the young man we were talking about in our opener, the left guard on defense, and a very active one.
You'll see here Jamie Morris doing a nice job of running inside. Picks up about 4 yards on the first down play. That'll leave Michigan with a 2nd and 6.
All right, Jamie picking up a total of 8 yards so far in carries. 2 carries last week, racked up 95 against South Carolina. And that time going right through was the fullback, Gerald White, on the carry, trying to get close to the 15-yard line. They've got to get just inside the 15 for the first down. He's going to be a little bit light back to the almost 17-yard line. So it'll be 3rd down and 2, a long 2. Take a look at that Maryland defense, and as Dennis told you, a lot of times you'll see 6 men on that line, and all of a sudden you'll see 8 men up on that line.
Ray, I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan took a chance here and threw the ball, because you are in 4th down territory. And remember, Jokic has got quite a few inches on Keita Covington on coverage on the outside.
Morris trying to run, but Bob Arnold, 6'3", 252-pounder, number 99, planted the right shoulder into him and drove him back. No gain. Would you call that a conservative call?
Very conservative. I guess Bo's just going to settle for the 3 points, because he certainly didn't, there was no creativity at all in that particular play.
Mike Gillette, a freshman in there to try the field goal. A 34-yard attempt has a distance. It is good. So Mike Gillette, from 34 yards away, has his 5th field goal out of 6 tries for 1985. The Wolverines of Michigan go out in front 3-0 over Maryland with 7 minutes and 13 seconds to go here in the opening quarter. After getting the break, Denny, and getting that short punt and taking over at the 50-yard line, it's got to do something for Michigan, even though it's only 3 points, but it might be a big 3 points.
Yeah, it's always important, I think, Ray, to take the lead in a big football game, particularly against a team that is as competitive as Maryland. They're a very talented football team. Bo Schembechler knows that given the right situation, that Maryland can be a very difficult team to beat. So he doesn't want to come in here and make a lot of mistakes, turn the ball over, and give Maryland an opportunity to go up and get confident and get momentum. So for Michigan to score first always helps.
Special teams of Michigan. Special team unit, I guess I should say, getting some last-minute instructions. The kickoff team. Zetkowitz will be kicking off. Here in the opening quarter, that win at Michigan's back. So the Wolverines cap it off with that 34-yard field goal. There was 8 plays that covered a 4-minute and 24-second time period. Keita Covington, the junior out of Danville, Virginia, standing back around the 5-yard line. He has returned the ball on 5 occasions so far in 3 games coming to this contest for a total of 123 yards. So he's averaging 23, almost 24 yards kickoff return on 5 tries. May get a chance to return this one. Takes it at his 3-yard line. Can't find the handle. Now recovers, but in trouble. Gets to it to the 6-yard line, and he is really ganged up that time. Moving in there quickly to lead the way was Reed, an offensive guard.
Ray, I really believe Keita Covington had trouble with the sun because he's looking right in the direction of the sun and never really saw the ball completely. You can see there that he had misjudged the ball. The ball hit him up almost in the head, so he probably just lost the football in the sun. And in a situation like that, you can see here, see how high the ball hits him up on his shoulder pads? Well, if he could see the ball, he would never try to catch it up that high, so I think he lost it in the sun.
Give Keith Cowan some credit also on that stop. And this time on a stop, give Akers some credit as he stood his ground right around the 7-yard line to make the stop on the Maryland back.
You know, the fact that Covington fumbled the the kickoff return, it gives Michigan great field position. And now, as a defensive team, they can do some things like blitz, or they can play back and set and read the quarterback and try to intercept the pass here.
Neal has carried 4 times, 23 yards. 2nd down and 7. He got 3 on that last carry. Ball at the 10-yard line of Maryland. I don't know whether that was supposed to be a misdirection or whether that was a messed up play. But anyway, Garland Rivers decided that he was going to put a little blitz on, and he was in the backfield as quick as the Maryland backs got the ball.
That's exactly what I was just talking about, Ray. When you get in a situation like this, you can take chances as a defense, and you can see number 13, Rivers, at the top of the screen, just blitzing right in and making a good job, taking a good angle and making a good tackle.
That ball is back at the 3-yard line, so make it 3rd and 13. Was close to being a safety, but he got out, found some running room. That was Neal again, and finally Hicks brings him down, shy of the 1st down, but it looks as if he might be trapped back there.
It certainly did. You can see here, Hammerstein gets a good jump off the ball. He was almost across the line of scrimmage when it was snapped, and Neal doing a good job of running. He's got very quick feet, Ray.
Right with a very short punt again. Giovanni Johnson waiting for it. Again, it gets a Maryland bounce. It'll be down right around the 38-yard line of Michigan. That ball stayed in the air only a couple of seconds, plus 245. So he's not getting much height on that ball, let alone hanging it at all, and not doing much of a job for his teammates to get downfield, although they got a lucky bounce that time.
Yeah, given the situation where they punted from, can't ask for too much more.
He says, I'll take a bounce like that. I'd rather be lucky than good, I guess. And he came into the ball game as far as punting-wise, average, just a little over 37 yards. So he's staying close to that this afternoon on 2 punts. Members of that Michigan band unit. There's Harbaugh. And Bo calls him the most underrated quarterback in the Big Ten. Wolverines 1st and 10 at their own 38-yard line. Michigan leading 3-0. 5:06 to go in the opening quarter. Harbaugh. Found his man open, and John Kozar. This is a young man we're talking about, a freshman out of Westlake, Ohio, has his first reception in collegiate football.
Just a simple out pattern. You see Kozar at the top of the screen. The linebackers stay inside, and they got under coverage, but Kozar and Harbaugh hook up for a 1st down play. Nice call.
Kozar comes out of there now, and Giovanni Johnson checks back in, split wide to the left. Jokic wide to the right. 1st and 10 for the Wolverines at the 42 of Maryland. It didn't take them long to get into that territory. Jamie Morris pounds it just inside the 40-yard line. We'll call it the 39. And Fassett, the linebacker, making the hit. Number 54 there is Pettibone, one of the defensive captains, calling the defensive alignment. Meanwhile, it's Michigan coming out with their offense. Jamie Morris. You can see what he's done so far this year. A year ago, as a freshman, the leading ground gainer on this Wolverine team.
Don't forget, he's quite a receiver, too, Ray, when he comes out of the backfield.
And you had ideas. You call that one. Jamie Morris on the receiving end gets it to the 35-yard line of Maryland. Ball thrown just a little bit behind him. Made a nice catch, and Steve Kelly and Pettibone come in there for the tackle.
This looks like a screenplay, Ray, where Michigan is trying to let the Maryland defense come inside and then get the ball out to Jamie. He'll do a nice job of, well, no, I take that back. He did a bad job of outrunning his offensive lineman, Mark Hammerstein, that time. You saw Jamie go right by him. He should have, I think, waited a little while longer and given Mark a chance to block somebody. Maybe he would have picked up a few more yards.
3rd and 3 for Michigan at the 35-yard line of Maryland. Harbaugh now 3 for 3 in the passing department for 37 yards. Wants to go to the air again, but won't do it. Coming in from behind is Scott Tye, the right tackle, to make the stop. Almost Tye really didn't get blocked at all at the line of scrimmage. Did a little maneuver there and came in from behind. So Michigan faced with their first punt of the afternoon.
You can see Scott Tye that time taking an inside route. He actually came inside of Clay Miller, number 79, the strong offensive tackle and perhaps the best offensive lineman on the Michigan line. But Scott Tye, with his quickness, did a nice job and dumped Harbaugh for the loss.
Monty Robbins with his first punt of the afternoon. A big, high, towering one that Keita Covington watches sail into the end zone. Had some help from the wind, but that was a beautiful punt, and it'll be brought out to the 20-yard line. Hang time, if you're keeping track of that, 4.15. So not too shabby as Robbins comes into this contest averaging 35 yards a punt. And that will help the average a little bit.
It's in field position compared to the last time they had the ball.
1st and 10 at the 20. Here comes Neal again. Got some good blocking this time at the line of scrimmage. Gets outside. Run out of bounds at the 43-yard line of Maryland. Over there was, I believe, Gant was heading him up and finally got him out of bounds. Neal, a speedster, 6 runs. And he's picked up 55 yards.
You can watch Neal. There's great blocking on the inside. Number 62, Holinka, their offensive guard, did a nice job opening up the hole so Neal could come through and pick up, 55 yards on that? Or he's got 6 carries for 55 yards.
Hicks over there to officially be recognized as a man that ran him out of bounds. Maryland now 1st and 10 at its own 43-yard line. They used Blount, the man in motion, a halfback. Little swing pass out to him. He can't hang on to it. They had number 72. That's Tony Edwards out there to form a sort of a one-man screen, but Jeff Akers is over there to really bother the intended receiver.
You can see here, Gabal, I think, misread this coverage. He had his wide receiver, Abdul, wide open down the field. I'm not so sure why he came off of the wide receiver and tried to throw the pass to Blount that time, but it looked pretty dangerous from up here.
Almost make up your mind that way and sort of
go with it.
Yep, that's it. 2nd and 10, still at the 43. This is Holder, the split end in motion. Blount on the carry. Looked as if he was going to pound it for a big gain, but instead, the shoulder was planted and a good stop made by Andre McIntyre, the linebacker. One thing, Bo has already substituted off that bench. He's used about 6 linebackers. He's had his interior lineman, or rather his lineman on defense, that 3-man line. Reinhold's in that lineup now.
That's one of the reasons, Ray, why I say Michigan really never has to rebuild, because he uses enough players from year to year that he really never has to rebuild.
3rd and 6. Making the reception was Edmonds, making a hit Garland Rivers. Close to a first down, might get a measurement. They might be just short. We'll wait to see where they spot the ball.
Edmonds is their outstanding tight end. He's a 6'6", 234 pounds out of Virginia, and he actually lost ground trying to make a move at the last minute on Garland Rivers. I think he had the first down when he caught the ball, Ray, and then when he dipped, he went back beyond the first down marker, and they have to kick.
Darrell White did a little better job. They thought they had that ball at the 1-yard line. Instead, the official says, no, inside the end zone. We're going to make it out to the 20-yard line. A break for the University of Michigan.
Yeah, I'd like to take another look at this. I think it's a bad call, but no. You can see there he's put his foot on the goal line, and so if he touches the goal line like that, Michigan's supposed to get the ball at the 20. The official was right there to call it.
Well, let's give the officials some credit and give them their names, John.
Out to the 20.
Good call, as you said. Saw it on our pass replay that time. Plowing ahead from the fullback position is White, brought down by Bob Arnold. White getting close to 6 yards, maybe 7.
Tackled by 98, Dwayne Dunham.
Bo Schembechler.
And the brain power over on the sideline. You see Chris Zerbrug, number 12, the backup quarterback to Jim Harbaugh. He did an excellent job last year after the 4th game when Jim Harbaugh was injured. I think that was against Michigan State, right?
Against Michigan State, right. Got 6 on the carry. He's carried 3 times for a total of 14. Over the middle to Jamie Morris. And Morris up to the 36-yard line. Set in there, along with John Scott to make the hit on Jamie Morris.
Well, Ray, I really think Michigan should do more of this kind of calling. I think Jamie Morris is an excellent pass receiver. He is their second leading receiver, but for a guy with his quickness to be put in a situation where a big linebacker has to cover him, it seems to me that you can just pick up numerous first downs if you just get the ball to him in a situation like that.
2nd and 9 at the Michigan 37. Harbaugh going to his tight end, Caddis, makes the reception and should have the first down as he's brought down at the 47-yard line.
It's a perfect pass here by Jim Harbaugh. You can see right there that Caddis had to do very little in terms of reaching for the ball. He just put it right in the pocket, and Caddis picked up the first down for Michigan. He's got 2 catches. Eric Caddis, 2 catches for 21 yards.
And the story you saw so far in the aerial department, fumble, Maryland recovers. So you saw that Michigan really with a big advantage in the passing department, but a big advantage this time for Maryland as they come up with that fumble at the 47-yard line of the Terrapins.
You can see the ball is handed off to Jamie Morris, and I couldn't see the number of who hit the ball out, but it was a caused fumble. It wasn't as if Jamie just let it go. Somebody knocked it out of his hand.
Looked as if it was Tommy Parker, number 91, a junior, Baltimore, out of Baltimore. Right guard in defense for Maryland.
I can tell you, Ray, from past experiences, it really doesn't matter how you fumble. When you fumble, you're in trouble in terms of going back to the sideline and being confronted with both.
That was Blount on the carry that time, number 33, sort of picking his way. And before we come back with more action on a second down, but only a first down situation, let's go to Tom Ryan.
Great game going on here in Ann Arbor between Michigan and Maryland. And, you know, for my money, there's nothing that delivers excitement like college football. Unless, of course, it's college basketball. And this fall and winter Pass Pro-Am sports system has the college basketball teams you want to see most.
Bill Frieder's top-ranked Michigan Wolverines, Michigan State, Western Michigan, the University of Detroit Titans, plus appearances by Eastern Michigan, Central Michigan, Northern Michigan, the Toledo Rockets, and other great games. For high-action, edge-of-your-seat excitement, there's nothing like college basketball, and it's coming your way this fall and winter on Pass.
And, of course, Pass also brings you great college football, like the game you're enjoying today, and Detroit Piston basketball, CCHA and Windsor Spitfire hockey, Kronk boxing, and a whole lot more. We hope that you're enjoying the game today on Pass.
We are, Thomas, we are. We hope that all of our fans are. Nice to have them along, and the first-time viewers will be looking for you again. 1st and 10 now for Maryland at the Michigan 43-yard line. On the carry that time, Alvin Blount, the running back, trying to make some yardage on that left side. Jeff Akers coming up to make the stop. Turnover story so far the first half, and that is why Maryland has the ball right now.
And that's why Maryland's got good field position as well, Ray. And we talked about Michigan cannot allow or cannot make mistakes like turnovers or pass interceptions because they don't want to give Maryland or let Maryland get good field position or score on them, obviously.
We saw a close-up of Blount, who picked up 4 in that last carry. 2nd and 6. Blount, a young man out of the state of Maryland. Gilbaugh throwing, has a man open, and it's completed to his tight end, Chris Knight. He's actually the second-string tight end, Brad Cochran. They're there to make the upset on him, but not until Knight got inside the 30-yard line of the Wolverines. Mark it at the 28.
Gilbaugh had the right play called. You'll see him roll out, number 8, Stan Gilbaugh. But watch at the bottom of your screen. You see Garland Rivers, number 13, was on a blitz, but Gilbaugh on the rush, on the dash, actually, got the ball away, and Maryland now picks up another first down.
At the 28 of Michigan, 1st and 10. Little misdirection that time, and a nice effort by Akers as he reached over the intended blocker and brought Blount down. Blount coming down very easily on that one, but a great effort by Akers. It might show you he's got a lot of upper body strength, reaching over the intended blocker and bringing him down with one arm.
Akers, the senior, he really did make a nice play, Ray, because if Blount gets past Akers, it's 6 points for Maryland on that particular play. He did a nice job of staying in the hole and pulling down Alvin Blount, the ball carrier.
2nd and 10 for Maryland. Gilbaugh wants to pass, got a man open, pays a penalty, but they make the reception inside the 15-yard line of Michigan. That was Holder, and Hicks getting credit for the tackle.
You'll see Gilbaugh roll out to his left this time, and he's looking in the zone for his senior wide receiver, Eric Holder, who does a nice job of holding on to the ball despite a very hard hit by Ivan Hicks, number 17.
1st and 10 at the 14 of the Wolverines. Maryland's biggest threat thus far in the first half. Michigan leads 3-0. Again, Blount trying to find some running room. Really tripped up by Andy Moeller, but really didn't get actually his foot and his motion going in the backfield because there was a Michigan man back there taking the intended blocker out.
Well, we had a blitz situation with number 13, once again, Garland Rivers. Watch him come in. As soon as his ball's handed out to Blount, you'll see 13 right there coming in to break up the interference. And I thought Blount did a nice job just to get back to the line of scrimmage, actually, right?
Actually picked up 1 yard, Dennis Franklin. 2nd and 9. Pro set there behind Gilbaugh. And a handoff to Tom for the fullback. Botanic trying to cut it back up the middle, and he was greeted there by a host of Michigan tacklers led by Todd Schulte.
It almost looks like Gilbaugh here says, "Here, take the ball, I don't want it." And he pitches back to his outstanding runner, Badanik. But Michigan really had that play snipped out.
I think that's the first time that Badanik has carried the ball.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I believe you're right. We talk so much about Rich Badanik coming into the football game. He is Maryland's leading rusher, and we find it a bit unusual that he's just now touching the ball here in the second quarter.
3rd and 9. Heavy pursuit. Out of bounds in the band. No play. Incomplete. Mike Hammerstein was a guy that was giving chase to Gilbaugh. And he almost threw that one out of the stadium.
And once again, the outstanding play of Mike Hammerstein. We talked about him in the beginning of the show as well. Watch him, number 66. He doesn't really have a lot of great speed, Ray. He is just the kind of football player that anticipates well. He's awfully quick, and he put a lot of pressure that time on Stan Gabal, and you can almost credit him with a sack there because that's why the pass play wasn't completed.
Paredes to try a 30-yard field goal. And he's off to the right. No good. Paredes missing his 4th field goal of the season. He's had a couple within that distance, but he misses. And so Michigan survives the scare there with 9:33 to go in the second quarter. And Michigan continues to lead the Terrapins by a score of 3-0. So they sort of bite the bullet.
And it really hurts if you're a Maryland football fan for you not to get any points on the board at all, particularly since Michigan basically handed them good field position with the fumble by Jamie Morris. And Maryland successful in picking up a couple of first downs and getting themselves down close to the goal line, and now they come away with nothing. It really can hurt you as a football team, and I'm sure Coach Ross is going to have something to say about that at halftime.
Well, the young man that we talked about, Paredes, a junior out of Arlington, Virginia, is 2 for 6 now on the year. He has missed from the 20 to 34, and then he had a 51-yard attempt, and this last one, a 30-yard attempt. So a couple of those have been within range, something that you have to capitalize on. And there's the young man that you were talking about. I consider the coach still a young man, Bobby Rose.
Rose. Excuse me, I said Ross.
You're right, it is Ross.
Okay.
My teeth are chattering. 1st and 10, Wolverines. Perriman on the carry. Got it up to the 26-yard line. So he picks up 6 on that carry. Make it 2nd and 4. Al Covington, the safety, making the stop. Al, one of the fellows that Dennis was talking about earlier, the brothers combination. His brother Keita, who plays at defensive left half. Both are considered all ACC players. The Atlantic Coast Conference. 2nd and 4 for the Wolverines at the 26 of Michigan. Wiltshire on the carry, shy of the first down, gets to the 29. Boy, he was turning away in pretty good shape. And then Tommy Parker, number 91, came in and cut down the young man who played his high school ball at Detroit Central High School.
You'll see here Tom Wiltshire out of Central in Detroit, 6 feet, 185 pounds. Does a nice job of running the power sweep.
Double tight end with Michigan. Need a yard for the first down. And instead, coming over the middle, Pettis surprised everybody, gets inside the Maryland 40-yard line. Boy, oh boy, it was Covington or else it was 6 points for Michigan. Al Covington making the stop. And Bo Schembechler surprises everybody.
He surprises everybody. Jimmy Harbaugh does a nice job of faking off tackle to Perryman, the fullback, and Caddis was wide open, Ray. He caught that ball for 43 yards, and obviously a first down. But you see there, you can see all the linebackers, number 11 and 54 for Maryland, all up front. There was no underneath coverage. Eric Caddis, that's his 3rd reception already today for 64 yards, and Michigan comes up with a big surprise on 3rd down.
They really do. It was 1st and 10 at the 38. Fullback carrying that time, drives it to the 32-yard line. Ted Chapman making the stop. Perriman on the carry. It'll be 2nd down and 4 yards, a long 3. Let's call it 3.
And you consider, Ray, that Michigan made that 3rd down call on their own 30-yard line. Who said Bo Schembechler hasn't changed?
Caddis probably thought, gee, on paper, this looks like a good play. I can't believe nobody's around me. 2nd and 3. Here comes Wiltshire, cuts it back in. Met there just as he got to the line of scrimmage by Fassett. Close to a first down. Inside the Maryland 30, close to the 28.
Here's a good look, Ray, at that wide tackle 6. You can see the 2 inside people, Bruce Mesner and Bob Arnold. In talking to the offensive line coach or quarterback coach Jerry Hanlon before the game, he told me that it would be real important for Michigan to isolate on Bruce Mesner and Bob Arnold, the two inside people in that wide tackle six. They're the key people in the defense.
And Perriman carries. He needed a yard for the first down. He has plenty to spare as he drops it down into the 25-yard line of Maryland. I was going to say they had the double tight end again, but I don't think you'd be seeing that same play. Perriman with his third carry now for 16 yards, pulling his way and finally brought down by Bob Arnold.
You can see the offensive line play that time. Mark Hammerstein, Bob Tabachenko, and Mike Huzar, their interior linemen, all quite big, considerably bigger than when I played. Most of them are about 260, 270. I don't think we ever had anybody on our team that was that big, Ray, when I played.
And you see the Michigan formation here, a slot to the left. And then Wiltshire on the carry, started doing a little toe dance as he got to the line of scrimmage, but then brought it down inside the 20-yard line and finally tackled by Keita Covington. What a story on Wiltshire, number 27. As Wiltshire has really been banged up during his stay here at Michigan. A great track star, by the way, also for the Maize and Blue, but it was track really that he took his first injury and then had to miss a football season. Got back last year, another injury, and here in his senior year, really getting playing time and doing a good job. Dragging it down close to the 16-yard line and dragging Facette, the linebacker, with it. We'll go to the 3rd and 2 now. Now, would they be scouting for Navy, huh? We don't have them on the schedule
this year.
Marked at the 17-yard line. 3rd down and 2 for the Wolverines. Now a slot to the left again. And that I formation, Harbaugh taking a little extra time, looked over the defense and said, I want a timeout.
I think he was a little bothered by the lineup of Al Covington, the middle safety man. He seemed to take the far side of the field. They generally only have three defensive backs in their secondary: Keita Covington, Al Covington, and Donald Brown, number 2. And they basically shifted to the wide side of the field. And when Jimmy looked up, I don't think he knew what coverage they were in, Ray, so he decided to call a timeout, which is the right thing to do, and go over and talk about it. You'll see here the inside linebacker people, Robert Klein, Mike Sampson, and number 11, their outstanding linebacker, Facette. They moved up on the line, and Jim looked back in the secondary, as I said before, and decided to call a timeout.
Well, you saw the score, Michigan 3, Maryland nothing. They predicted maybe a very low-scoring game here. A couple of tough ones.
Ray, you can see here Bo Schembechler with the short sleeve shirt on, but the other gentleman there, Elliot Uzelak, was a former head coach at Western University. He's now back here with Bo and is basically the offensive coordinator.
Bo has an awful lot of faith in him. And that offensive coordinator, Uzelak. 3rd down and 2, Wolverines. Try to keep this drive going. First option play call this afternoon, and they get the first down. Harbaugh on his first carry as far as the option play, finally brought down by Mesner.
It's not very pretty, but it's very effective. Bob Perryman did a nice job there of blocking the interior linemen, and Jim Harbaugh just goes right down the line of scrimmage. You'll see here from another look. See him duck right inside and pick up the first down.
Michigan down for a total of 176 yards. 66 on the ground, 110 passing. 1st and 10 at the 14. Wiltshire on the carry, close to the 10. Oh, he got maybe 4 yards on that carry. Mesner again in the stop. And Wiltshire now with his 5th carry and a total of 17 yards.
You notice we haven't seen any more of Jamie Morris. for now, and generally it's Bo's policy that when you fumble the football, you're coming out of the game.
Well, he has up to this point. Wilcher and Perriman, the running backs, in behind Harbaugh. Fakes to Wilcher, wants to go to the air. Caddis! Touchdown, Michigan! Caddis making the reception in the end zone. And Michigan leads it now 9-0.
A very nice call by the Michigan offensive team. Eric Caddis, I believe that is now his fourth catch, and he's got 74 yards, 4 catches and 74 yards. But Michigan drew man-to-man coverage on their wide man, Paul Jokic. He went down and in, and Eric came from his tight end position inside out, and Harbaugh did a nice job of getting the ball to him.
And young Mike Gillette is 7 for 7 in the extra point department. And Michigan with 3:34 to go here in the first half, taking a 10-0 lead over the Terrapins of the University of Maryland. Well, we had some interesting calls on that Michigan drive.
Ray, I'll tell you, it's changed so much since I used to play. You can see here Jim Harbaugh faking off tackles to Tom Wilcher. Now see Eric Caddis, number 81, he's coming out, and now you can see Jokic. He was lined up on the outside, went inside, and he took 2 people with him. That is what left Eric Caddis wide open. Harbaugh right here, fake back to his running back, roll out, and he'll throw the ball to a wide open Eric Caddis. Harbaugh now is 7 for 7, Ray, and 120 yards. 1 touchdown.
Caddis having his biggest day as a collegiate ever. Might be even including even his high school career. But one to remember, of course, still a little bit of time left in this ball game, still a second half to go. A story on that scoring drive by the University of Michigan, covering a total of 80 yards. No, it's not that warm, but that's the way he wants to kick.
I never understood that about kickers. I mean, if you can kick that good without a shoe, it only makes sense to me that you can kick better with a shoe. They scare me. Kickers, my experience with kickers is not very good. I don't want to bring it up.
You mean they hear different drummers? This is Rick Sutkowitz, number 7 for the University of Michigan. Keita Covington is deep, standing at the 5-yard line. This one ended the win, and Covington will take it at the 13-yard line. And gets close to the 25-yard line. Covington with great speed. He can find a little daylight. He can cause some trouble for the opposition. The opposition this afternoon, the Wolverines. So we're down to 3 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the first half. And if you're one that gives credit on the special teams, give Todd Schulte credit for the tackle.
This time you see Covington doing a nice job of getting under the ball, getting his body under control, and then taking off with it. Even though it was a relatively short kick by the Wolverine.
Well, Maryland got some catching up to do here with 3+ minutes. Gelbaugh gets a little extra time this time and finds a man open. Did he catch it? Looked as if he was having a little trouble finding a handle, but it was Farrell Edmonds, the tight end, making his second reception. Ivan Hicks over there to cover on the play.
Well, we'll take a look and make sure, Ray, to see whether or not he did catch the ball. But you can see Gelbaugh didn't have a lot of pressure on him that time. Threw a pretty good pass out to the flank. I'm not so sure he caught that ball.
I'm not either.
But he did a fine job of covering it up.
First down, Maryland, at the Terrapins' 39-yard line. Little draw play this time. Going nowhere. Neal on the carry. Moeller on the tackle.
Andy Moeller this time does a real good job of sitting at home and reading the draw play. And that's an outstanding tackle that he made and really saved Michigan or kept Tommy O'Neill from coming up with a big game because the rest of the linebackers had dropped off, Ray, and there was a big hole inside. And if it wasn't for Andy Moeller's great tackle, he'd have picked up a lot of yardage.
2nd and 10. That's a quick pass to the sidelines. intended for Eric Holder behind him, and I think that was just a matter of survival that time. Gelbaugh had a lot of pressure on him. Well, they're trying to get the wave going here at Michigan Stadium. And they got it going now, while Maryland tries to get it going on the 3rd and 10. Harbaugh has passed for a total of 120 yards. Gelbaugh of Maryland for 43 yards. 3rd and 10. Little safety valve to Neal. Neal tripped up by Rivers. And also in there, Andre McIntyre on the stop. Close to the first down.
Gilball this time on the 3rd and 10 just waits for his running back, 48, Tommy Neal, to come out of the backfield, flips the ball to him. But Andy McIntyre, a 6'1" junior out of Chicago, Illinois, did a nice job of keeping Neal from picking up the first down, and Maryland's forced to punt.
Gant taking that punt close to his 17-yard line. Good coverage. Gets it up to the 21-yard line on a short punt that time by Darrell Wright. So Wright really has had only one punt this afternoon to speak of, and that was the one that just barely got in the Michigan end zone.
Now you can see what Tony Gant is facing. A real bright sun. Very difficult to pick that ball out of the air when you're looking right into the bright sun. You recall Covington he fumbled the ball on the kickoff return for Maryland and put them in bad situations. Bad field goal or bad field position.
The brain trust of the University of Michigan. Bo Schembechler trying to chalk up his 3rd win of the 1985 season, along with the rest of his Wolverines, led by Jim Harbaugh, the quarterback.
You see the perfect statistics by Jim Harbaugh, 7 for 7 for 120 yards. Very impressive.
Perriman was trying to find some daylight. Couldn't find anything that time along the line of scrimmage. Richie Pettibone and Steve Kelly, the linebacker and the defensive right end, making the hit on him. Might have lost a handle on that, but I think after the whistle, huh?
Let's take a look. You see Perryman, number 37, trying to get outside. It's almost a clip there by Wilshire, trying to block and help Perryman back. So let's take another look. You can see Wilshire that time almost clipped Pettibone.
I think they would have called that had he not already had the runner, huh?
Right.
The ball carrier. Lost a yard. Little draw play this time. Wilshire on the carry. Got a little daylight. We're going to get a flag, a penalty. Might be a face mask. We'll wait and see. Wilshire got a little daylight, got to the line of scrimmage, and then greeted there by a linebacker on the right side. Arnold had to hold him behind. Pettibone was also in there, and so was Kelly. Face mask.
I think Bo Schembechler is content with going in, Ray, at halftime, leading Maryland 10-0. Let's take a look at the penalty. You see Wilshire here getting face mask charge, number 99, Arnold, Bob Arnold, grabbing his face mask. Watch number 99 right there grab Tom Wilshire's face mask. Michigan's got 2 penalties for 10 yards and Maryland 1 for 5, so really haven't had a whole lot of penalties in the game.
Unintentional face mask that time, and they marked that ball. The line of scrimmage now right around the 28-yard line of Michigan. It'll be 2nd down and 3. Timeout was called by Maryland with 1 minute and 2 seconds to go. Maryland may be figuring if they can stop Michigan here on short yardage, force them to punt. And we'll wait and see how that strategy pays off. Meanwhile, Harbaugh over there to talk with his head coach, Bo Schembechler, on exactly what Bo wants to do. But I think you're absolutely right. With 1 minute and 2, deep in your own territory, deep saying the 28-yard line, you're going to play it fairly cautious, I think, Dennis.
But at this point, you know, something just tells me that Bo's over there telling Jim Harbaugh, look, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to take a chance. We're going to go off tackle, fake off tackle. I don't want you to get sacked, and I don't want you to throw an interception. Short of that, we'll take a shot at it because it's, you know, we've got a 10-point lead, and they might just think at this point that we're just going to be content because thus far in this particular series, he's run the ball 3 times, and it looks as if he's going to be content with going in it.
You want that 3rd down pass again to Caddis.
That's right.
Bobby Ross, you saw the far side of the field. Bobby came out in his shirt sleeves earlier today, now got the sweater on, so things might be a little cool, although they're in the sunshine on that far side of the field. And we'll see if Michigan is in the sunshine right now with a second down and 3. Nice to see the Associate Athletic Director of the University of Michigan, Will Perry, stopping by our television booth, our pass booth, and we thank him for his cooperation with all the Michigan sports along our network. All right, the gentlemen in stripes want to make sure they're getting everything all straightened out on the second and 3.
I think it's the scoreboard, Ray.
Whenever you see the old headset come off, you know Mr. Schembechler has something to say, either to the officials, to his players, or to the fans, or to the media. All set to go now. Second and 3 at the 28. Long count. Jamie Morris back in the lineup. First carry he's had since that fumble. And that time, stepping carefully after he got to the line of scrimmage, and should have enough for a first down.
Just a simple off-tackle play. Jamie Morrison doing a good job of following the big fella, John Elliott, 6'7", 285 pounds, out of New York. His weak tackle, believe it or not, that's the position he plays, 6'7", 285, weak tackle. Doesn't sound right.
Down to 40 seconds, first and 10, 33 of Michigan.
Here it is.
Harbaugh over the middle. And to Jamie Morris at the 39-yard line. And roughed up a little bit there by Fassett on a good stiff tackle. Timeout this time called by the Wolverines. 29 seconds remaining in the first half. Michigan leading by a score of 10-0. I'm Ray Lane along with Dennis Franklin. We're very glad you could join us along our Pass Network. Nice to have you here. If you're a first-time viewer, we hope that you'll make it a habit on Pass. We'll be looking for you. Bobby Ross on the far side over there. Besides, he wants to check with the officials. Talking to some of the members of the coaching staff of Maryland a couple of hours before the game time, and they took a look at the stadium when they came into practice yesterday, and it was partially filled when we had our conversation going. They said 103 to 105,000. He said, this is bigger than a bowl game.
And the take-home check that they'll get is also bigger than the bowl game payoff.
Well, we'll see how the Wolverines want to play with 29 seconds remaining. Second and 4 at the 39, their own 39, with a 10-0 lead. Again, over the middle. Jamie Morris trying to find some running room. Got a good block. Gets into Maryland territory. That was Caddis, the tight end, that really let a Maryland defender have it on a good block. That sprung Jamie Lewis for a few extra yardage. However, as a flag down back at the 30-yard line, all for naught. Going to be against Michigan. Holding.
Well, we talked about this particular football play and the fact that Michigan ought to use Jamie Morrison more in this situation like this. Getting the ball to your quick running back, a guy that can catch the ball very well and is going to beat most linebackers that you face. It was a good call, but I didn't even see the indication on the penalty. I believe it was holding, Ray. Brings back a first down play.
And they'll chalk off the 5 yards against Michigan. Brings it back to the 34-yard line. That'll make it second down, still second down, and 9 yards. So if he was passing before, will he be passing again with 21 seconds to go here in the first half? No pitch out this time. Jamie Morris on the carry. Gets to the 45-yard line. Enough for the first down. Run out of bounds by Keita Covington, the halfback on the left side. 16 seconds remaining.
Jamie breaks off tackle on the power sweep. Nice block up front by Perryman, which allows Morrison to get in the secondary. And watch here. Gerald White, number 22, is going to kick out right there and allows Jamie Morrison to crack the line of scrimmage. That's his 8th carry now for 32 yards.
So 4 yards a carry, 16 seconds. Harbaugh wants to go to the air. Going to Jokic. And it's intercepted by Covington. Keita Covington breaks the tackle from Caddis at the 10 and gets back to the 25-yard line. And we'll see if time has run out or whether there's still 1 second on the clock. But the intended pass was going down to the wide receiver, Paul Jokic.
You know, we talked about the height advantage to Jokic, who is 6'8", and Keita Covington, who's only 5'9". But I want to tell you something. On a basketball court, which is where Jokic has played for so many years, Keita Covington looks like a guy that could go up and get a few rebounds, because he went up and got that ball.
Coming back on that tackle from Michigan was Kozar. K-O-L-E-S-A-R. 1 second remaining before the half is completed. And they load up with trips on the right side. Maryland, you see the 3 receivers on the right side. Gilball getting a lot of time, putting it up for grabs. And nobody's there except the Michigan defender. That's Tony Gant. And Gant is there to intercept it at the 22-yard line of Michigan. And that will close out the first half. So the Wolverines, after 30 minutes of play here at the University of Michigan, with a 10-0 lead over the Terrapins of the University of Maryland.
Well, Gant here is probably very thankful that Gabal even threw the ball, because he was so far down the field. There was no way that Maryland was going to complete a pass behind Tony Gant, number 14. He had to be 30 yards down the field when they lined up, right?
Tony Gant coming up with his first interception of 1985. And there was a lot said that Tony, after suffering the broken leg last year, how he would be back in action this year. And so far in 3 games, he's done a pretty strong job on
the halftime intermission. He would have been 9 for 9 if he would have completed that. The way it stands, he's 8 for 9 for 107 yards. And Michigan has basically dominated the game offensively, 196 total yards versus 94 for Maryland. But the 2 turnovers, I'm sure Bo had a lot to say about that at halftime. They can't make mistakes, because the more mistakes they make, the better Maryland's chances of getting back in this football game.
Well, the only touchdown so far in this ball game, here's what's happened in the second quarter.
Jim Harbaugh here makes a real good read. He had Jokic, his fine outside receiver, number 84, coming in on the post cut, and then Eric Caddis, the tight end, who's having probably the best day in his career thus far, ran the out cut, and Harbaugh got the ball to him, and it was a touchdown, the only touchdown scored thus far in the game.
Ramon Paredes all set to kick off for the University of Maryland. Michigan has sent back Jamie Morris and John Colsar. It'll be Morris trying to battle the sun. About 4 yards. He decides to bring it out of the end zone and gets it close to the 15-yard line. He was a little bit hesitant and then decided to come out with it, and finally got it up close to the 15-yard line when Walker, an interior linebacker, greeted him there to make the stop.
And that's what really hurt him, Ray, was the hesitation. You could see him kind of stutter back there, trying to decide in his own mind whether or not he thought it was right to come out or to stay back. And as it sits, he should have probably stayed back in the end zone.
Doing a little thinking about it. Jamie Morris is the fellow that brought that out to get our second half underway. 1st and 10 at the 15-yard line. Michigan leads 10-0. Colsar and Jokic split wide on the right side. And Michigan with that I formation with White and Morris. Morris on the carry. Tries to break it at left guard. Gets back to the line of scrimmage. Might have got 2 yards out of that carry. Bob Arnold was there for the tackle.
Ray, we always felt when I played with Michigan that this was the most important series in the football game. This is when you dictate whether or not you're going to win the game or lose the game, because so much can change in the first series of the second half. If Michigan is to go down and score, they could put this game out of reach. On the other hand, if Maryland intercepts or comes in and stops Michigan right now and then scores, they could get back into the ball game. So they would always put a lot of pressure and emphasis on this particular series.
Harbaugh passing that time to his back, White, the fullback, coming out of the backfield. Fawcett in there to make the hit along with Shankweiler. It was a 2nd and 9, and it'll be shy of a first down by about 3 yards.
You see Jim Harbaugh on the rollout, and Morrison just kind of slips up inside. Jimmy delivers the ball to him, but that particular pass play wasn't long enough, really, to pick up the first down, so they'll be faced with a 3rd and 3.
3rd down and 3 at the Wolverine 22. Second half just underway. Tavasino, the center for Michigan, ready to snap it to Harbaugh. And unloading in a hurry as the rush was on, and leading the way again was Bob Arnold, who caved in that offensive line. So Maryland impressive on defense here in the first series of plays to start the second half. 4th and 3.
And keep in mind how important this series is now, because if Maryland is to receive this football here, gets good field position, and they put 7 points on the board, it's only early in the 3rd quarter, and they've got a real shot at, winning the football game. That's why the series is so important.
Monty Robbins with a good punt. Covington takes it at his 40-yard line, and you talk about good punt. You want to talk about good coverage. 3.85 on the hang time on that punt into the wind. So it'll be marked at the 40-yard line of Maryland. And Maryland starts out with pretty decent field position.
Really didn't have much to do with it, but catch it, Ray. One of the toughest jobs in football. Catching those punts when you see about 8 guys coming after you, you know you're going to get leveled.
Well, the M band certainly put on a fine performance at halftime again this afternoon. 1st and 10, the fullback, Bonanik on the carry. Rivers coming up to make the first hit on him. About an 8-yard carry, and you can mark that now at the 48-yard line, almost to 49.
It's just a quick hitter inside. Bodanik cuts away from Hammerstein, number 66, who was about to tackle him. It's still surprising, Ray, why we didn't see Rich carry the ball a little more in the first half. I think this is only his second carry in the game.
Jim Snyder says yes. A statistician here at the University of Michigan, fine member of the sports information staff. Bodanik again, wide open, inside the 40, down to the 35-yard line. Back-to-back carries, finally stopped by Tony Gant, the free safety.
Bodanik here is going to cut inside his offensive strong tackle, Jeff Howika, and his center, Dave Amin. And he can really read the offensive line quite well. He's an experienced running back. He's a senior out of West Farmington, Ohio. Their leading rusher coming into the game, Ray.
And he carries again. This time, the linebacker, Andy Moeller, got a hold of him and finally brought him down to the 30-yard line. So this time on the carry is Tommy Neal. Fullback on 2 occasions, and Neal carries for the 8th time and picks up a total now of 62 yards with those 8 carries, his first carry of the second half. Picked up 5, so it's 2nd down and 5 at the Michigan 30-yard line. Maryland trying to get on the scoreboard. Keep in mind, Michigan has not allowed a touchdown so far in 1985. Bodanik on the carry. Hammerstein in there to have a shot at him around the ankles, and credit for the tackle. See Moeller looking in to get the defensive signals, number 49. Nice job, gang. You did a nice job with that band at halftime. Elbow trying to get the job done for Maryland on 3rd and 3 at the 28. Neal. No way. Akers, the outside linebacker, came up there and greeted him. Got help from Andy Moeller.
It's a big series for Michigan. You're right, Ray. Number 33, Jeff Akers, gets good penetration right there and closes down Tommy Neal or Bodanik. You see here Akers come across, good penetration, and Maryland's going to go for it on 4th down, 4th and 3.
4th and a long 3 at the 29-yard line. And came up a little bit shy. It was Neal on the carry. And you can talk about Akers and Andre McIntyre bringing him down to the artificial turf at the 27-yard line, and they do not get the first down.
Well, Maryland is really forced in this situation to go for it on fourth down. Unlike most teams, their field goal kicker just has not been producing. So I feel that their head coach decided that we may as well try to keep something going here and go for it on fourth down. Akers recovers and makes a great tackle to stop Tommy Neal about 1 yard short of the first down. Big play for Michigan.
Wolverines take over their own 27-yard line, first and 10 minutes and 26 seconds to go in this third quarter. Morris on the carry that time, and the right side really piled him up. Leading the way was a linebacker, Fassett, who just sort of squeezed in between Scott Tye and Bob Arnold and plugged up that hole in a hurry.
Fassett is their best linebacker and their leading tackler coming into the game.
Young man out of Willingboro, New Jersey, a junior. 6'3", 235-pounder.
Good speed.
Yeah, he has good speed. Wilcher in there at tailback position. And behind White, Harbaugh has a man open. And he fires to split in. Paul Jokic, who hauls it in. Keena Covington making a stop at Jokic with his first reception of the afternoon.
Well, Harbaugh's throwing into double coverage because Scott Swangheiler, the linebacker, number 30, you'll see him up short, and Keena Covington, number 1, had deep zone coverage. Jokic went in and back outside, and Harbaugh did a nice job of getting the ball in between the zones, and he's now 10 for 12.
Harbaugh 10 for 12 for 132 yards. Jokic with his first catch of the afternoon, his 7th of the season. First and 10, Wolverines trying to go up the middle. They get about 3 yards on the carry. Bob Arnold in there to make the contact and haul him down with a little help also from Ted Chapman. That was White, the fullback, on the carry. What Gerald say about a week ago, he said, hey, I've got some great friends. My running back, the fellow I play with, Perriman, Morris, and Wilcher, he says, they all know how to get outside, but I know how to get inside and get to that white line.
Here you get a good look, Ray, at that wide tackle 6 that Maryland plays on defense.
Second and 6 to White, complete. First down, but a flag back at the 39-yard line in the backfield of Michigan. Harbaugh is getting up slow. Steve Keller makes a tackle, and this might be roughing against the passer.
Take a look at the top of the screen. You'll see Scott Tye, number 56, come in and really bang Jim Harbaugh. But he did a nice job, Ray, of setting up real quick and getting the ball away to Gerald White. Now we'll get a chance to look at Harbaugh. Watch him stop real quick right there and get rid of the ball. Nice job, Jim Harbaugh.
Referee John Nealon may do a little marching right here against Maryland, and it might be a major penalty of 15 yards. I believe maybe unnecessary roughness or roughing the passer. Yeah. Roughing the passer, and that'll march it down to the 36-yard line of Maryland. A big break for the University of Michigan. First 15-yard penalty in this ball game. This is the first time these two schools have played each other.
And I think they're going to meet again in 88 or 89.
Yeah, and they got a couple of them back-to-back coming up down the road. First and 10. Morris cutting back in, close to the 30-yard line. Got the quick feet and the great balance. Really turned the corner that time. Looked at maybe he might get back to the line of scrimmage. Then had the afterburner going and got close to the 30, making the 31-yard line. Al Clemington making the stop. So he got 38 yards on 10 carries.
You'll see here number 22, Gerald White, get a nice block on number 83, Mesner. And with his quickness and his speed, it doesn't really take a complete block where you have to knock the guy down, but he got around and picked up about 3 or 4 yards on that first down carry.
There he goes again, has the first down inside the 25-yard line. And he was doing a little dragging. Chapman had greeted him right at the line of scrimmage, and he took that 256-pounder and dragged him all the way to the 23.
Jamie Morrison likes to run inside as well as out. You see here, he follows his blocking very well. And Ted Chapman, the junior out of Maryland, Salisbury, Maryland, makes the tackle.
You saw what Morris has done so far this afternoon on those 11 carries for a total of 46 yards, 7 minutes and 14 seconds. Second option play of the afternoon. Harbaugh keeps it, gets inside the 15-yard line. Only the second call on that option play, and he was tripped up finally by Scott Shankweiler.
Shankweiler, number 30, is the linebacker, Ray. Now, when Harbaugh comes down the line of scrimmage, he wants to get to number 30. When he went out, the right thing to do was to cut up inside, and that's what he did, and that's why he picked up another first down.
At the 15-yard line, Harbaugh was carried 4 times for a total of 16 yards.
Check that, it's 2nd and 1.
Second and 1 at the 15.
That was my mistake. That's your job anyway.
Well, we should have it now on the carry by White. Be close to it. I'll mark it, and we may get a measurement. Bassett, the linebacker, making the tackle that time. Close to the 12-yard line.
I just think Harbaugh does an outstanding job, Ray, in a situation like when he runs the option, and even when he drops back to pass, he just seems to make the right decision at the right time. And that's part of maturing, part of feeling much better about what you're doing and knowing what to do at the right time. And he's shown that he's got that ability, and that's really why Michigan is 3-0 right now.
Ability and continuing to build that confidence with success.
Right.
White got the first down, Gerald White. He's carried 5 times now for 20 yards. Harbaugh asking for a little quietness if he can have it here at the Michigan Stadium at the 12-yard line. 1st and 10. Jamie Morris gets it back to the 5, inside the 5, close to the 1-yard line. Covington in there to make a stop. Keita Covington, along with Tommy Parker.
This is really a hand-back type play where Morrison has the freedom to cut back wherever he wants to, and he cuts way back to his right and follows his blocking, does a nice job, and almost scores, Ray. Nice run by Jamie Morris.
Got it to the 1-yard line. 1st and goal for the Wolverines. White trying to get in. Read it right there, trying to go over the top. No indication by the officials yet. Wait till they unpile. Clay Miller is signaling down. Yes, they have. We'll wait for the official. They'll mark it down outside that goal line.
So he'll give up the body play, but he was met at the top of the line, or the top of the pile by number 11, Chuck Bassett. And once you leave the ground, you really have no more momentum. All your strength is given up because it's just a matter of meeting that body up over the line as quickly as you can, and you can stop the guy.
Wilcher going in, he fumbled the ball, and Maryland has recovered at the 1-yard line. Wilcher had the daylight, his body got in the end zone, but he fumbled the ball before he went into the end zone, and Maryland recovers on the 1-yard line.
Big mistake. Big break for Maryland as well. You'll see here Tom Wilcher preparing to go over for the touchdown. See if he's got 2 hands on the ball. Really, it was an outstanding play, but I think Steve Kelly, number 53, the linebacker, I think he put his helmet right on the ball and caused it to come out. Let's see who causes the fumble here. As Wilcher gets ready, he's got 2 hands on the ball. You can't ask for much more than that. And I think 53, Steve Kelly, the linebacker from Philadelphia, came up with the ball. Badani covered. Badani carried the ball. The fullback got to the 3-yard line, and then he fumbled. Michigan has recovered. All right, the Revere
the call as Maryland was at the 1-yard line. Tried to hit off right guard. He did that. He got to about the 3. Was hit by about 2 or 3 defenders of Michigan. And the hammer, Mike Hammerstein, came up with that ball. And Michigan has it right back at the Maryland 3-yard line.
Michigan was covered by 56, Billy Harris.
Nope, check it. They give credit to Harris on the recovery. So let's give Hammerstein credit for the hit. Harris on the fumble recovery. Michigan first and goal at the 3-yard line. Knocking at the door again. Harbaugh on the third option of the afternoon. Keeps it and tripped up. Got to about the 2. And it was Scott Tye in there to make the tackle on him.
Maryland did a real nice job on that play, Ray, of stringing it out, not allowing Jim Harbaugh to ever get to the guy he's supposed to option. Look at them. They're all rolling to their right. Maryland's right, Harbaugh's left, and they really never give him a chance to make a decision. And the indecision cost him a yardage because he didn't get a chance to move upfield. As you look at Bo Schembechler and Elliot Uzelak, his assistant.
No gain on that play. Second and goal, still at the 3-yard line. To the air, wide open. Caddis has a second touchdown pass of the afternoon. The tight end, Eric Caddis on the receiving end. And Michigan leads it 16-0.
Touchdown pass. It's a rollout with Harbaugh rolling to his right and Caddis just going out in the flat. And his wide receiver, Jokic, that time, instead of coming way inside, he stayed outside and it created a hole right there in the middle zone. And Harbaugh got the ball for the touchdown.
Say yes to Mike Gillette on the extra point attempt. It is good. And so with 4:21 to go in the third quarter, the Wolverines of Michigan 17, the Terrapins of Maryland 0. The Bobby Ross and company got some catching up to do for Maryland. Ross, the gentleman with the headphones. Gary Moeller, the defensive coordinator and assistant coach to Bo Schembechler.
And father of Andy.
Right. Trying to keep things on an even keel down there. Don't ease up now with a 17-0 lead. Well, there's a story.
Shortest in history.
After they turned the ball over, Michigan at the 1-yard line, and then Maryland coughed it right back up again. Michigan takes a couple of plays, and it's capped off by that little 3-yard pass to Caddis for the touchdown. Michigan, of course, a week from today, opening up for real in the Big Ten as the Badgers of Wisconsin move into Michigan Stadium. And we hope that you'll join us right here on Pass for the telecast of that game. Meanwhile, it will be Maryland opening up in their conference, the ACC, against North Carolina State. Keita Covington at his 5-yard line, straight ahead. And he is jolted and driven to the turf around the 27-yard line. On a good, healthy tackle by Todd Schulte, who's having himself quite a ball game on the special teams and also at the linebacking post.
Tackle for Michigan by 41, Todd Schulte.
At the 27 of Maryland, first and 10.
It looked like up here, Ray, that Covington had a huge hole in the center of the Michigan defense, but that was closed, as you said, by a very healthy tackle from the Michigan defender.
First and 10, Gelbaugh wants to go to the air. A little swing pass out this time to Neal. Neal is crunched at the 31, and the linebacker coming in to hit him was Schulte, and Hammerstein also active on the play.
You can see here the drop by Todd Schulte, number 41, going to his responsible area. Once the ball is completed to Tommy O'Neill, he just comes up and makes the tackle. Only a pickup of about 4 yards.
Second and 6. Neal on a carry. Wants to cut back in and riding right on top of him again is Schulte. Oh, he is playing a good ball game. He's been all over the field defensive-wise and on the special teams. Neal has been the busiest back so far for Maryland. 3rd and 1 for the Terrapins at their own 36-yard line. some movement. I know there was movement that time by Andy Moeller coming over the top. Malenka, the right guard, had his head down there. No, it's on the left side.
Yeah, the left side really moved before Malenka.
Tony Edwards, the tackle, number 72.
It's Maryland's third penalty. And that one really came at a bad time, Ray, because it's 3rd down and 1. Now they face 3rd and 6, which is much more difficult to pick up.
17-0 Michigan, leading here with 2:51 to go in the 3rd quarter. Over the middle and completed. Got enough for the 1st down. Holder, the split end, coming across. Andy Moeller making the tackle for Michigan. They mark it at the 41-yard line.
That was a nice call to the flanker, or the wide receiver, Eric Holder, out of Palmer Park, Maryland. Just a delay type pattern, Ray, where they come up underneath, and Gabal got him the ball in plenty of time.
Neal getting outside, breaks the tackle on Cochran, drives straight ahead, and then a 1st down. And finally, Tony Gant on top, and he held him up enough for Andy Moeller to also come in there and help out on the stop.
It's a very impressive run by Tommy Neal. Watch this tackle that he breaks here by Brad Cochran, number 30, right there, the All-American candidate. And Neal just keeps going until he runs into Gant and a few other players. Neal's got 81 yards now and 12 carries.
Take a little breather right now. You can see what his average has gone up a little bit. He came in the ball game at 5.5 on his running average. This afternoon at 6.8. Gelball. Had a man open, complete. That was Milling, the wide receiver. He was set up on the right side, went down about 10, 12 yards, cut across, and brought down by Gant.
Way too much time here. Gabal is just sitting back here. This is a very time-consuming type play, Ray, where 22 Milling breaks in about 20 yards down the field and waits for the underneath coverage, the linebackers to spread out. He kind of runs behind him, and Gabal shot the ball in the hole, and they pick up a 1st down. Maryland's threatening.
1st and 10 at Michigan's 26-yard line. Trying to find somebody open. Little swing pass to his fullback, Pedanek. It's completed for maybe about a 4-yard gain and driven out of bounds by McIntyre. And Rivers also coming up there to help out. Pedanek going to the sideline after being hit.
The ball fakes to his running back, Neal, but he really didn't fool anyone because there was good coverage by Michigan and linebacker Andy McIntyre.
Scriber comes in to take over at the fullback position for Maryland in that I formation now. 1st down is a good carry by Alvin Blount. Finally driven out of bounds at the 10-yard line. Again, Tony Gant driving him out on the far side of the field. Had a good block that time with Scriber, the fullback, hit somebody over there on the right side to open that hole.
Blount gets a real good block by Pedanek on the corner man. I think Scarcelli was the guy that he blocked inside, number 85.
1st and goal at the Michigan 9. Long count by Maryland.
He's got the ball.
And going no place. Trying to bootleg it over on the right side. Garland Rivers is over there to drive him down, and then Scarcelli finished him up. We're down to 48 seconds. Time out as the clock stops, going out of bounds. 48 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter.
Gabal really tries a naked bootleg here. He just fakes and keeps the ball himself, but he really didn't fool Garland Rivers, number 13, who came up and made a nice tackle, and then, like you said, Scarcelli, number 85, came over and made the final hit.
Still 2nd and goal from 11 yards out, so he lost 2 on that one. 2nd down at the 11. He's 4 for 4 in the 2nd half. Make it 5 for 5. Driven out of bounds at the 6-yard line. Just using his backs coming out of the backfield, and that time it was his running back Blount and brought down by Scarselli.
Once again, pretty much the same thing. You can see Scarselli in the middle of your screen. He drops off number 85, and then once the ball is thrown, he comes up and makes the coverage, or makes the tackle. Good coverage by Jim Scarselli, the senior out of Warren, Michigan.
All right, 3rd and goal for Maryland. 6 yards away from 6 points. Keep in mind, Michigan has not given up a touchdown so far this year. Gelbaugh going to the end zone. Broke it up. Was it intercepted? Chugging around, and Michigan, I believe, has the interception in the end zone. Touchback. And the Wolverines still have not given up a touchdown so far this year.
Strong defense. Very strong defense. Watch Gelbaugh. The first thing he does is make a mistake because he's throwing in an area. You see there's 4 Wolverines there, and for him to throw that ball in there was taking too much of a chance. The ball was tipped. The ball was tipped by Mallory, I believe. And his brother, Doug Mallory, comes up with the interception. This is a brother act.
Doug Mallory, the young man, and certainly he's Mike Mallory's brother out of DeKalb, Illinois.
And I think Mike tipped the ball, and it bounced around a couple times, and then Doug Mallory, his brother, ends up with the interception.
36 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Michigan has the ball at their own 20-yard line. Wiltshire on the carry, picks up 4, gets up to about the 24-yard line, around his ankles to make the stop. Bob Arnold and Chuck Bassett. 2nd down and 5. Gets credit for 5-yard carry. And not 4 yards. Wiltshire. Take it 2nd and 5. Time running out, and that will be the final carry of the 3rd quarter. 15 more minutes to go. Michigan on top. 17-0 over Maryland, with the 4th quarter right around the corner. And for the University of Michigan Wolverines defensive unit, they have gone 11 quarters so far.
Exclusively on Pass. Pass, the Pro-Am sports system, is the cable sports network you've been waiting for. This fall and winter's hottest sports action with a different event every day, all seen exclusively right here on Pass. No repeats and no reruns. If you're not a Pass subscriber, call your local cable system and tell them you want the best seat in the house for the sports and teams you want most. Call now, because for all good sports in Michigan, they come to Pass. Now back to Dennis Franklin and Ray Lane.
All right, Tom Ryan, you talked about action when you were talking about Pass, and on that last play, we saw plenty of action. Jamie Morris on the receiving end for a 1st down at the Michigan 37-yard line, 1st and 10. Our 4th quarter underway. Morris on the carry again. Has another 1st down at the 49-yard line. Got to the line of scrimmage, did a little toe dancing for the final 4 yards, and finally brought down by O'Brien Alston and Sean Scott.
Very impressive running inside by Morrison. Watch 74, Huzar, Mike Huzar. He gets an outstanding block, and Jamie cuts off of that and picks up another 1st down, his 2nd consecutive 1st down in this drive.
On carries so far this afternoon, Morris 13 carries for a total of 68 yards. And one of the Terrapins injured on the play on the far side of the field. Trying to pick out his number. He was in on that tackle. There were about 3 of the players in there. That may be O'Brien Alston, the right end or the outside linebacker. So it's Michigan leading 17-0, 14:24 to go in the quarter. That's the final quarter, 4th quarter in this ball game. And Michigan in a real battle here with the University of Maryland. And we'll talk more about today's action after these words. O'Brien Alston, gentleman that was hurt on the field and being assisted off the field over to the Maryland bench. So that should bring Steve Kelly back into that right end position. The story so far this afternoon on total offense, and the story in the scoring department with 14:20 to go in the ball game.
Maryland's moved the ball. There's no doubt about that. You could see with that statistic that there were only some 70 or 80 yards behind Michigan in terms of total offense, but they've just been unable to score.
1st and 10 for the Wolverines. At the 48, their own 48. Harbaugh. And the receiving end that time, Jokic. Finally driven out of bounds at the 27-yard line. So Jokic getting into the receiving act. Sambrowski driving him out of bounds, a linebacker at the 28-yard line of Maryland.
Well, you'll see Jokic come from the top of the screen on a crossing pattern, and Harbaugh does a nice job of getting the ball to him. And now, with the secondary coverage and everybody dropped off so deep, Paul has a chance to just use his adequate speed and turn this into a very big play. Jokic, I believe that's his first catch this afternoon, Ray. Second?
Yeah, second catch, both coming here in the second half. 1st and 10 at the 28. Pitch out to Morris. Cuts it back in, gets about 3 yards on that carry. Had 3 defenders chasing him. The man leading the way was Bob Arnold. Coming up also behind was Tad Chapman. 17-0, Michigan leading. 13:34 to go in this ball game. And Morris now, 14 carries for a total of 70 yards. A 95-yard afternoon a week ago at South Carolina. The story on Jim Harbaugh, who came in slightly under 50% of the passing department.
About 48, yeah.
Has built up the stats today.
Yes, he has.
And they have not been little dump passes, all of them, to his backs either. Setting up again. Wants to get outside, wants to unload, and does. He had Caddis, his tight end, complete at the 16-yard line. I thought that Jim was going to run it. Finally unloaded, and Covington was there to make the stop.
I'll tell you, Ray, I can't say enough about Jim Harbaugh. He looks really polished back there. Watch him move around, make enough room for himself, plenty of time, comes under control, and then whips it right out there to Caddis, his tight end. And I just can't say enough about Jim Harbaugh and the play and the decisions. He looks very mature. He's just doing everything right so far. That's Caddis' 6th catch already for 81 yards.
And a couple of touchdowns. 1st and 10. A couple of receivers put wide. However, they go to the back. Jamie Morris tries to scramble it down to the 10-yard line and gets very close to the 10.
You know, Ray, without telling everybody my age, I can remember when I played here at Michigan. Dave Brown, who was my roommate, and at the time, my best friend and stuff, we'd go over to the Harbaugh's house, and because Jim was Dave's coach, his father, Jack, actually, was the secondary coach, and little Jim Harbaugh was just a little boy. And we used to run around and go over there to have dinner, and he was only about this big, and now he's quarterback in the Michigan Wolverines.
He has a 1st and 10 right now, and he has an option play going, gets inside the 10, close to the 7-yard line. Jim Harbaugh. Throw up in a hurry. Well, hey, I remember when you were playing here too, kid. It wasn't that long ago. I want to say a decade.
No, not quite.
10 years, right?
Yeah,
11 years. Mesner making a stop that time on Harbaugh. Picks up 7 yards, 3rd down and 3 at the 7-yard line of Maryland. 11:25 remaining in the ball game. Michigan on top, 17-0, and the Wolverines have called for a timeout. So Harbaugh will go back and check with the bench. What's the way he's holding his arm? I don't know. That right arm, he was sort of holding it a little bit when he was going to the bench. I don't know whether it's going to give him a problem or not. Maybe not. Maybe it was just the way he was carrying himself coming back. He looks like he's okay.
Yeah.
So both benches right now very busy with strategy. Bo Schembechler, Jim Harbaugh, and on the far side of the field, a little defensive work and words by Bobby Rose, the Maryland coach. Well, we have a chance. We'd like to remind you the next Friday evening, the University of Michigan will induct 7 former Wolverine greats in the Hall of Honor. Festivities will begin at 5:30 with a dinner and award ceremony starting at 7 p.m. That's next Friday evening. All the excitement will be held at Chrysler Arena. And for ticket information, contact Don Lund. The number is 663-2411 during business hours Monday through Friday. The Michigan Hall of Honor, Friday, October 4th at Chrysler Arena. And Gold Blue is going pretty good so far this afternoon, 17-0 with 11:20 to go in the game.
As we look at Jim Harbaugh going back into the huddle, when I was down on the field before the game, Ray, I was on my way back up. I was surprised to run into Jim's mother, Jackie, and said hello to her. But, you know, her husband is the head coach at Western, but she's here watching her son play.
You'll get Jack the next time, right? 3rd and 3. Harbaugh, plenty of time, scrambling, and he elects to gun it out. He couldn't find anybody open. Good protection that time on the defensive part of Maryland covering the intended receivers, and Harbaugh had one choice, and that was to throw it away. So he's 14 for 17 for 184 yards, and Michigan looking at a field goal attempt with 11:13 to go. Harbaugh also has carried the ball 6 times for a total of 19. And here's Mike Gillette, who's been perfect so far this year from inside the 40-yard line and missed only on one occasion. 25-yard effort. He's done it too, and it's good. And Michigan increases the lead now to 20-0. Mike Gillette. He's been a real find. A freshman out of St. Joseph, Michigan, adds the 3 points. They're in the early stages of the 4th quarter. And Maryland right now, time to sort of pull on the laces. And I guess you guys refer to it as a gut check.
Yeah. It's tough, Ray, when you get into a ball game like this. You come in, you expect, as a Maryland person, if you were coming into this game expecting to win, now that's really all you got to do is do your job and try to perform well enough that you know, you don't get hurt, and next week you start all over again and hope to win next week, because I think Michigan has truly dominated this football game. And if Bo was worried about the press before, he's certainly going to be worried about them afterwards, because I'm sure they'll probably move up into the top 10 in the college rankings after such an impressive victory against, I think they were 13th ranked Maryland coming into this game.
Preseason choice to be in the top 15. Preseason choice to win the Atlantic Coast Conference title for the 3rd straight year. And battling for pride. Sutkowitz drills this one out. And Maryland will bring it out to the 20-yard line. We talked about time of possession when we checked the stats from the first half. And on those last 2 scoring drives, Michigan possessing the ball for 5 minutes and 21 seconds. On this last scoring drive that moved into the 4th quarter, taking a total of 5:26. So that really has been a big factor, I think, for Michigan, not only in this game, but in their first 2 victories, time of possession.
It's very true. It's a statistic that Bo really relates to. He likes those 10, 12, 13 play drives of anywhere from 5 to 8 minutes. They can eat up an entire quarter almost and be very effective if you score on them.
It's catch-up time for Maryland, and with that in mind, in the 1st and 10, Gilball that time trying to connect with his split end, Eric Holder, and it is incomplete. So it'll be 2nd down and 10. Ball marked back at the Maryland 20-yard line. Rivers over there to cover on that passing play. And again, that Michigan defense this afternoon of Mark Messner, Billy Harris, and Hammerstein along the forward wall. Scarcelli, Mallory, McIntyre, Moeller, Schulte, and Akers. The linebackers doing a marvelous job. Backup fullback, Stefan Schreiber on the carry. Flag goes down. Might get a little holding out there. Garland Rivers over there to dump him.
You'll see the ball this time hand off the draw play to Schreiber, number 45, and Garland Rivers, number 13, comes up and makes quite a tackle.
Well, things have not gone right for Maryland. They're going to be called for holding this time. Dieter Herron comes off the field number 35 for Michigan. He was in on that play. Billy Harris checks out, and Reinhold checks in. Meanwhile, the officials mark it back to the 12-yard line. Jimmy Snyder, you called that one early, holding. And so it's back to the 12-yard line of Maryland, 2nd and 18. Dennis Franklin is here. I'm Ray Lane. We're glad to have you along. Right here on Pass, and we'll look for you throughout this weekend, and of course, with all of our sporting events. Chase is on, gets out of the end zone, still looking for somebody, and completes it at the 28-yard line. Milling on the receiving end. Good pursuit that time by the Michigan defense.
Hammerstein, once again, putting plenty of pressure on Gabal, and he was flirting with a lot of danger because he was really behind the goal line when he took that snap.
Got that completion back up to the 24-yard line, so it'll be Maryland 3rd down and 6. At its 24.
Plenty of time.
Well, we'll see if Hicks is called for interference. The pass was intended for Farrell Edmonds, the tight end. Flag has gone down at the 32.
I don't understand how they could call it interference.
How about offensive interference? Yeah.
Okay. Let's watch the tight end, number 93 at the top of your screen. He's going to come around and curl right in front of Gabal, but I don't think we're going to get a chance to see it. Right here, as number 17, Ivan Hicks, recovers and makes the tackle on Edwards, who should have caught the ball, who should have really caught the ball, Ray. Well, hits him right in the hand.
Yeah.
I guess that's a bad spot.
That's a perfect pass, letter high,
Yeah.
at the numbers. And so Maryland faced 4th and 18 and marched back to the 12-yard line in a punt situation. And his best punt of the afternoon off the foot of Darrell Wright. Giovanni Johnson trying to find some running room on the far side. And he has stopped back at his 34, or rather his 38, finally driven back to the 32-yard line. 3.81 on the hang time on the punt by Wright that time.
21, Eastern Michigan 3. Third quarter.
Full house and security is necessary.
Giovanni Johnson, number 26, catching the ball. He's out of Northern High in Detroit.
First quarter, Nebraska 7, Oregon nothing.
Just really trying to turn the corner, never really had an opportunity to get around the corner as the Maryland defenders tackle him and bring him down.
Vanderbilt 13.
I thought maybe they'd call his motion around the 38, but they called it the 32. Guess those legs were still moving. He was still trying to go, yeah.
He was still trying to make an effort to go forward. I'm a little surprised that Jim Harbaugh's still in the ball game, Ray. 9 minutes, 20-0 lead. I wouldn't take the chance myself.
9:42. Perriman on the carry. He's the fullback. Straight ahead. Got about 3. Brissett still in there making the tackles. Oh, he has been most outstanding defensive player. He and Mesner, along with the Covington brothers today. Berry has carried Perriman for 5 carries for 17 yards.
Lost articles should report
The busy back, however, has been Jamie Morris. Now White checks in at fullback. Glad you could join us, and we hope that you'll join us next week, right at this same spot. As the Big Ten season opens up, conference play, the University of Wisconsin Badgers will move in. Morris with 15 carries and 73 yards. Boy, Michigan State has a toughie when they open up next week, traveling to Iowa City. Jokic, incomplete. I guess claiming he did not have control of the ball. Still juggling a little bit when he was knocked out of bounds.
I think they blew that one.
Donald Brown will get credit for it. Now, wait a minute. One of the other officials said, no, he had it.
He did definitely have it. You'll see here, our camera will show you. He's down in plenty of time, and he's got control. The defender hit the ball, but he still had control, Ray, and he had both feet down. It was a reception.
All right, give Jokic credit for his 3rd reception of the afternoon. And it means that Michigan has the ball at its own 43-yard line. Make it the 44, 1st and 10. Jokic split wide to the left. Kolsar wide to the right. On a 1st and 10 for the Wolverines. Wilcher, Thomas Wilcher on the carry. Boy, got to the line of scrimmage in a hurry, had a lot of daylight, and bucks it just past the 50-yard line and greeted there by Kevin Walker along with Al Covington.
Somebody's hurt, Ray.
One of the Michigan players down at the 50-yard line.
70. I think it's Huzar, 74.
Russ Miller, the head trainer, and his staff out there to check on the injured Michigan player. Dr. Gerald O'Connor making his way out.
He's the orthopedic surgeon, Jerry O'Connor.
His schedule is kept busy in his athletic
Very busy
department.
over the years. He's been there a few years now. Put my collarbone back together for me.
So you recommend it?
I do recommend him. Send him my bill, too.
You're right. Ozar, number 74, sophomore out of Chicago. Shake it up on that play. You had a quick shot of that Maryland bench over there, very quiet.
This is really Mike's first year of action. He's been around for, but his first really starting season. He's redshirted as a freshman, Ray. Most unusual thing I learned about him is he likes to collect stamps.
Well, we hope that he doesn't have too much time to do that the next few weeks. They sort of indicated maybe it's the shoulder, the collarbone area, as he's being assisted off the field. Keep our fingers crossed for the young sophomore. You saw the record of Bo Schembechler, now the dean of the football coaches in the Big Ten. The record on Harbaugh, of course, for this afternoon's play. 2nd down and 3. Eludes would-be tacklers, looking for daylight, and fires it. They'll rule it incomplete, rule it complete to Jokic at the sideline, so he was inbounds. Covington on the play.
Very impressive play here by Jim Harbaugh. As you see, number 53, Steve Kelly, the linebacker, come in from the blind side. Somehow, Jim Harbaugh had eyes in the back of his head, made a move at the last minute, got away from him, and then turned the play into a positive gain, throwing to Jokic and picking up, coming very close to picking up another first down.
Still working on Hosar there. Vitale has replaced him in that offensive line. They need a foot for a first down. They get about 4 yards for the first down to the 42-yard line of Maryland. And Steve Kelly in there to make the tackle. And another Michigan player slow in getting up. And this is Mark Hammerstein, who is down on the turf right now at the 45-yard line.
That's 2 starting linemen in the last quarter of a football game that's really out of reach, as I see it. That's why I wouldn't have my quarterback in there, especially when he means so much to you as an offensive football team.
So while they work on Hammerstein out on the field, they continue to work on Mike Hosar on the bench. Hammerstein getting some assistance as he comes to the Michigan bench. And the way he's coming off the field,
and you know,
leg, hopefully it's not the knee, but the way it is, it looks like that right knee area.
Ray, one of the real positive things about this football team has been their offensive line. The line of John Elliott, Mark Hammerstein, Bob Tabachenko, and Hosar, and Clay Miller. Really all veterans, all very big and very powerful offensive linemen. And now they're going to, looks like they're going to have 2 of their starting players out of the lineup come next week. got to hurt.
Michigan 1st and 10. Borowski in there replacing Hammerstein. Wilcher on the carry. If he got a yard, he earned it. Chapman greeted them. Boy, you could hear it all the way up here. Down to 7 minutes and 32 seconds to go in the ball game. Michigan leading 20-0. Wilcher has carried 11 times for 30 yards. And Maryland's defensive unit, as far as defensive coordinator, trying to get the play out there, what they want to do against Michigan. But it's a sort of frustrating afternoon for the Terrapins, for their staff and for their players. 2nd and 8 for Michigan. At the 42 of Maryland. Harbaugh. Pulsar was the intended receiver, and Covington, Keita Covington, covered on the play. Let him a little too much.
Harbaugh was getting a lot of pressure that time from Sean Scott from the backside once again. All of a sudden, it seems like Maryland is shooting their linebacker on the weak side of the play, trying to put some pressure on the quarterback.
3rd down and 8. 3rd and 8 at the Maryland 41. Harbaugh has the first down. Trying to pick up a block over there on the far side of the field. Couldn't find anybody open, but that time they recovered pretty well. Got inside the 30 to the 28-yard line, and finally it was Keita Covington making the tackle.
And, you know, Jim's got real good speed for a kid that's 6'3", 200 pounds. He can pick him up and put him down. You can see here, he decides he wants to run. He makes up his mind, and he goes and gets that first down.
7 carries, 32 yards for Harbaugh. You notice he carried that ball just like Denny Franklin did. Didn't tuck it in, did he, huh? Story of the rushing department so far this afternoon. Wolverines by 70 yards over the Terrapins. The 3.5 quarters of play. 6:35 to go in the game. And Wilcher getting some tough yardage. Kevin Walker is the first one to hit him right around the 27-yard line. That's the line of scrimmage. Might have got a yard out of that carry. 2nd and 9, 26.
Off tackle left, deep handoff, and Tom Wilcher just putting his head down, making up his mind, keeping the legs going. He might have picked up an extra 2-3 yards just by simply moving the legs. But I think they spotted it where he first hit the ground, even though the effort was there.
We'll give him 2 and make it 2nd and 8. Harbaugh going to Johnson. Interference called on Covington. Johnson trying to go airborne around the 4-yard line. And Covington, Keita Covington, going up in the air with him, and the contact was made. The flags went down.
Well, you know, Covington actually was penalized for covering Giovanni Johnson too closely this time, because when Johnson reaches up for the football, he kind of pushed Covington back, and that's when they called the play. You'll see here Giovanni Johnson, number 26 there, extending himself all out to try to come down with it, but the ball was thrown a little high. But Michigan will pick up the first down via the penalty anyway.
5th penalty against Maryland for a total of 48 yards this afternoon. Things going your way, Bo.
He's pleased.
Michigan with 3 penalties this afternoon for a total of 15 yards. Something that Bo was happy about after coming out of the South last week at South Carolina, although he didn't believe they deserved all the penalties they got. 1st and 10 at the 11 of Maryland. Wilcher on the carry. Boy, just as if he looked like he had plenty of daylight, was going to go to the end zone. He stripped of the ball by Al Covington. Covington claims he had it, but I think they're going to rule it down. At the 10-yard line they are, and they say the ball belongs to Maryland. So the second fumble by Wilcher this afternoon.
Yes, and they do a real good job of stripping him here, Ray. Watch him when he ducks inside. and he tries to cut back out. And number 18, Al Covington, that time, as he's swinging him around, he pulls the ball away, and then he goes down and falls on top of it. Quite a play by Al Covington, number 18. Watch here as he spins Wilshire around. He'll rip the ball away from his arm right there, and then he'll go down and cover it. Can't ask for more than that.
Takes the ball away, comes up with a fumble recovery, and Maryland has the ball at its own 10-yard line. Al Covington, a one-man show on that defensive play. 20-0 Michigan with 5:34 to go. Gilball firing out to his tight end. And that was Chris Knight on the reception. Enough for the first down. The mark it close to the 20-yard line at the 20, 1st and 10.
Knight running a down-and-out pattern, actually a crossing pattern. He lined up on the right side and comes across in front of Gilball, and pretty good underneath coverage.
Gator Heron, you saw him from Michigan, number 35, driving him out of bounds. Wolverines have turned it over 4 times. And Maryland 3.
That's about the only statistic or category that they've not been impressive in, Ray, is the turnovers. I know Bo's not going to be pleased at all with 4 turnovers.
Milling on the receiving end of that pass from Gilball at the 32-yard line. Another first down for Maryland. Playing soft on him that time was Greg Randall, the backup cornerback on the weak side. Well, Maryland, despite giving up 2 touchdown passes to Michigan this afternoon, still has not given up a rushing touchdown to any of their opponents in 4 games. And we got 5:25 to go on this one. Michigan has not given up 6 points via the touchdown yet, either through the air or on the ground so far this year. Well, you knew that he was going to make a reception
sooner or later.
And that is Abdur Rauf. That's just the last known.
Well, you know, I've been practicing on that name all night long, hoping that when we came in here today, we'd have a chance to say it 2-3 times. And it's been so long since we brought it up. But Abdur Rauf is running a post pattern, and the quarterback, Gilball, does a nice job of getting the ball in between the zones, and he picks up a first down. Rauf's first reception of the afternoon.
His 16th straight game that he's had at least 1 or more receptions. They went to him early in the ball game, one that he couldn't hang on to. They went to him that time a little bit behind him. So he is 1 for 3 on the receiving end so far this afternoon. Andy Moeller in there to cover on that pass. Down to 5 minutes and 1 second in the ball game. Wolverines looking pretty good at this point with a 20-0 lead over Maryland.
Rauf was an outstanding player in Maryland in high school. I think he was a quarterback and the player of the state player of the year his senior year in high school. So he knows a whole lot about offense.
Gilball has completed 14 so far this afternoon. Intercepted by Michigan. Hicks comes up with the ball. Ivan Hicks, the senior, out of New Jersey. You on to others as they did to you. And Ivan Hicks that time picks it off. So the turnovers are even now at 4 apiece.
Gilball, once again, throwing into coverage. I don't believe he should have thrown this ball down the middle. There's too many people down there. And Ivan Hicks playing the tip drill, number 17, brother of Dwight Hicks, who is currently playing with the San Francisco 49ers. Also, Ivan wears the same number that Dwight wore when he was here. But you can see it's basically the tip drill. That's something that they'll work on every single day in practice, Ray, is that tip drill where the ball is tipped by another defender and you just watch it and try to make the interception.
Chris Zurbrugg is in there at quarterback now for the University of Michigan. He's number 12. That was White, who lined up in the tailback position that time and made a first down. On that interception, the tight end was Knight, was the player that pass was intended for.
You're right, Ray. Number 22, Gerald White, who's got good enough quickness and speed that he can play both fullback and running back. And he's really the third running back in terms of the depth chart.
Well, the line was moving. I think the center still had the ball. And we'll wait for this one. It may be a call against Michigan. White has carried 8 times for a total of 36 yards this afternoon. 7 of those carries from the fullback position, that last carry at the tailback position.
Well, the center snapped the ball.
Zerbrug wasn't ready to go.
And the rest of the team wasn't ready to go for some reason. Sometimes, you know, when you change quarterbacks and you get a new signal caller in there, he has a tendency to change his cadence a little different from the previous quarterback. And Chris Zerbrug, that was only his second snap, I believe, second or third snap in there. You can see Tabachenko snapped the ball on time, in his mind anyway.
I'm going to get him off the hook. Dave Herrick is in there now at center.
Yeah. You're right, number 69.
And so White carries, looking for a little more daylight on that right side. Couldn't find it. The clock keeps moving. We're down to 4 minutes remaining in the ball game. So the Wolverines can hurriedly start thinking about their conference opener at home next Saturday afternoon as the Badgers of Wisconsin come in. As we told you earlier, Maryland will open up down at North Carolina State. Straight ahead for a couple of yards. And the Wolverines just taking plenty of time, trying to run out the clock. I was trying to check on the far side of the field, the golf cart, and one of those Michigan players is injured, taking him to the locker room right now and trying to see who that was.
I think it's Huzar, the guard, offensive guard, number 74. I believe that's who it is.
Hammerstein, who is also hurt on 2 plays later, has not come back into the lineup, so keep your fingers crossed. Zerbrug on the option. Pitches out to Perriman that time and might have got a yard or 2 out of the play. Did not get out of bounds. The clock continues to tick away at 2:43 remaining in the game. Now, Michigan came into this contest rated as about a 1-point favorite, and they've been very impressive against a highly rated Maryland team. And Michigan decides that this is a good time to try for a field goal. If they have enough players on the field, somebody may be missing.
Yeah, a couple people.
The left side.
They better call timeout.
The time is called. This could be about
a record-setting
47, or what, around a 56-yard field goal effort. We'll see where he wants to spot it.
At least 55.
Yeah.
Sean Scott, number 51, was the gentleman that forgot his special team responsibilities. That might be the second kicking unit in terms of the
that's right.
The front people.
Some of the first stringers sitting down,
right,
standing on the sidelines, and say, "Hey, I've already played
I'm done. Yeah, right.
52 minutes already."
I've taken my helmet off for the day. So then they go to the second unit, and sometimes you forget about that.
Well, Gillette has still stayed in that little huddle out there, so they've still got their field goal kicker to make the attempt. The line of scrimmage is a 37-yard line. The ball will be marked at the 44. So it'll be a 54-yard attempt by Gillette. Got the distance. No good. Off to the left. Just a little too much hook into it. And he had the distance, but a little off on the direction. But I'll tell you what, he's proven one thing. He can get that ball that far.
That's right. And it's good to know, and that's great game experience, Ray, because you never know later on in the season when you are going to be called on to kick a field goal like that, and it might be the difference in the game.
Checking the flag again. He has a little breeze at his back, but he really got his foot into it. Really good.
And he just kind of missed it, kicked it too far to the left. He kind of faded on him to the left side. But you're right, he certainly had the distance. And then some. Could have moved it back maybe 10 yards. At least 5.
First and 10. Galbaugh is hit just as he went to release it, and it wound up into the hands of Mike Reinhold.
Guess who?
Hammerstein was back in there. He made the hit, Reinhold was there, and he says, I've got it.
Watch number 66, Mike Hammerstein, leveling, putting on the pressure, and number 45 coming up with the interception.
Reinhold, who was played here at Michigan after a nice high school career at Catholic Central of Muskegon. And Michigan with 2 minutes and 9 seconds to see if they can get something else on the board. They'll start the series of plays from the 27-yard line. Got about 2 yards on the carry. Little disturbance along the Michigan bench. Not too happy. A couple of the coaches down there, of course, Bo.
Well, they never give up, Ray. They want you to execute, perfectly throughout the ball game. It doesn't matter if it's the first string or the second string. They still expect you to carry out the right assignment, and if you don't, they get very upset.
Yeah, I think that was Usilak who really was not happy with something that the offensive unit was either not doing or had forgotten about. And you're right, you get down to a pressure situation where let's say you've got a tie ball game or you need a couple of points in a hurry, under 2 minutes to go, you still want your guys to be doing the right thing and doing it with a lot of discipline.
That's right, because see, even if you're second string, you may think this game is over, but the coaching staff takes the approach that you're on second string to replace somebody on first string. So if you don't go out when you're given a chance to play and execute properly, then they don't know in their own mind whether or not you can do the job should somebody in front of you be injured at some point in the season.
Zurbrugg, all he could do that time was to hang on the ball to be sure that he didn't fumble. Meanwhile, Maryland wants a timeout, and that ball is back to the Terrapin 40-yard line. Shankweiler in there to make the stop.
Great penetration. Outstanding penetration by Maryland's defense, and in particular,
Shankweiler and Scott, I think, right?
yes.
And then the big guy, Chapman, get a little glory. He came in on top, 3 for 1. So down to 43 seconds. And here at Pass, we're very glad you joined us for this ball game. We hope that you've taken advantage of this special weekend on Pass. And of course, Tom Ryan has been telling you throughout our ball game of the exciting sports events that will be coming up on Pass through the fall and winter months. And we'll be looking for you when we get together next Saturday right here in Ann Arbor when the University of Wisconsin Badgers come in for the opener of the Big Ten 1985 season. Wolverines will go into that game with 3 wins and no losses. 43 seconds to go. Monty Robbins back to punt. Keita Covington at his 10-yard line. And Robbins almost puts it through the uprights. Definitely no return. 4.5, a little better than 4.5 seconds up in the blue. So even though it doesn't mean anything, it's another practice session for Monty Robbins.
Game experience.
You surprised by this game, Denny Franklin?
I'm a little surprised, Ray, that Michigan was able to dominate Maryland so thoroughly. I say once again, in every category, they seem to come out on top, with exception of the turnovers. I believe they're tied in that category. But without those turnovers, this game probably wouldn't have even been close, which it isn't right now. But they did give Maryland opportunities to get in the ball game, and had it not been for the outstanding defensive play by Michigan, they probably would have scored.
You saw Gelbaugh on his first gallop of the afternoon, and that was really forced upon him because everything else was covered. Timeout called by Maryland. What has Michigan, you think, learned in this game? Maybe it's a combination of 3 games of non-conference games going into the Big Ten schedule now, do you think?
Well, I think they still believe that they do have and possess one of their best defenses that they've ever had here. Hammerstein has just been outstanding. Coming into this game, he had won the Defensive Championship Award 2 weeks in a row, which is quite unusual. I've never heard of that before, and he quite well could be a candidate to win it again this week, as well as he's played. And then offensively, you can't say enough about Jim Harbaugh and the situations when he's put in pressure situations, he seems to come up with the right decision and gets the first downs and consequently turns those first downs into touchdowns.
Gilball trying to find somebody open. He does. He's got his man, Abdul Rauf, who hauls it in and is brought down at the 37-yard line. They'll mark it at the 37 with 16 seconds to go. The clock stopped as they move the chain gang. Maryland with one timeout left. Clock is not ticking right now. 16 seconds remaining. Again, my thanks to a superb statistician in Jim Snyder. Nice to be working with Jimmy again. Jonathan Grossman has been our spotter. Our floor manager, Keith Wetzler. So these are the fellows up in the booth. Dennis Franklin, good to get together with you again, and
Great
next Saturday we'll do it again, huh?
I'm looking forward to it. Might take this time to say hello to a friend of a friend, Linda. Had to get that in there. With my buddy.
11 seconds to go, second down and 10 at the 37. Daylight. And that was Holder making the reception, brought down at the 11-yard line. 4 seconds remaining in the ball game. And Maryland calls its final timeout. Now you say, okay, the game is wrapped up, so what? Keep in mind, 4 seconds. Michigan has not given up a touchdown this season. And you got to wonder right now.
Yeah, I was going to say it means a lot to both teams. Maryland wants to show Michigan that they can score. And on the other hand, this defense, which has been so outstanding all season, certainly does not want to give up a touchdown in this situation and keep their string alive.
A real viewer on pass for the past couple of seasons, a gentleman by the name of Ken Beck in Southfield. We want to say hello to him today and appreciate his loyalty. Well, the loyal Michigan fans are trying to hold their defense together. By the way, our executive producer of Pro-Am Sports is William Glenn. The senior producer of college football is Michael Smith. Today's game was produced and directed by Jerry Holfeld. Our associate producers are Jim Holly and Michael Landro. Our production coordinator is Christine Avagavitti. Juggled and driven out of bounds as time runs out at the 3-yard line. So the Michigan Wolverines have won their third of 3 games in 1985. They have played 12 quarters of collegiate football and have yet to give up a touchdown in 1985. So the Wolverines, with this impressive 20-0 win over the University of Maryland, very well could find themselves in most of the polls this coming week in the top 10.
And now, really, Ray, the season is here. Bo really doesn't care about the non-conference football teams. Certainly he would like to win those games, but now with Wisconsin coming in here next week, he's ready to bear down, and I think he's got to be quite pleased with his team so far this season.
Michigan players, some of them having a problem of getting to the tunnel, as exuberant Wolverine fans, some 105,000 plus. Another sellout here at Andover, trying to get to that tunnel. A few disappointed fans, but they don't look too disappointed. Had a brilliant day as far as the sunshine and the weather was concerned, and a brilliant day for Michigan, both on offense and defense, as they knock off Maryland. Final score, 20-0.
Welcome to Sports Specialties, the Pro Hall of Fame Awards.
In the NFL, the Pro is the authentic Pro Line cap, popular with NFL coaches and players.
And in Major League Baseball, The Pro is the all-wool cap that the players wear.
In professional basketball, the Pro is the official cap of the NBA.
In the colleges, the Pro is the cap for your college teams.
Ask for the Pro at leading sporting goods and department stores everywhere.
Stroh's ice cream, everybody's favorite treat.
I like my Stroh's ice cream in a chocolate shake. That delicious taste makes me finish in record time. I just love a Stroh's ice cream hot fudge sundae. Because with its high quality and reasonable price, it's such a sensible value.
I'll take my Stroh's ice cream in a plain old-fashioned cone, thank you. And I've enjoyed the taste that way for over 60 years.
Stroh's ice cream, available where you shop. Just ask.
Hello, Highland Service. Do you think you could help me?
If you ever need service on something you bought from Highland Appliance, Highland will be there fast. No matter what. Highland's own expert service department.
Highland Service, ma'am.
Already?
Hey, no problem.
We'll be there fast, no matter what.
One call from you sets Domino's Pizza in motion. From that moment on, we do everything to make sure your hot, delicious custom-made pizza is delivered to your door in less than 30 minutes. Domino's Pizza delivers.
Right where you want it to be. Domino's Pizza delivers. One call does it all.
Well, here we are at Ann Arbor, and there's no doubt about it. It's a victory celebration going on right now as the Wolverines have blanked the University of Maryland 20-0. And sort of a surprise victory, Dennis Franklin. Surprise in the difference in score, that is.
And really, that's the only surprise, Ray. The difference in the amount of points scored, 20-0. I don't think anybody would have ever predicted that Michigan would come in here and or play here and blow Maryland out the way they did. Overall, the statistics, I thought, were fairly even. Michigan's total yardage of 380 yards versus 223 from Maryland. But the defense really was the difference, and they played strong. They have all year, and Michigan has always been known for good defense, but as long as they continue to play this way, Michigan's going to be tough to contend with.
You guys used to refer to as it bends, but it doesn't break.
It doesn't break, and that's exactly what happened today. That's why Maryland was able to move the football up and down the field, evident by the fact that they did have 200 and some odd yards in offense, but that Michigan defense would not allow them in the end zone at all.
So you're talking about the statistics and how things bend, of course, and how the defense bent, but held firm and did not cough up any points. The story on Maryland and the University of Michigan's final stats, both in first downs right through the turnovers.
And I was a little off on that total yardage for Maryland. I said 223. It was 323, which, again, shows you how much yardage that they could compile. Over 300 yards. That's quite a bit of yardage for anybody. But Michigan just didn't let them get in the end zone. And I think they've got to be pleased with that performance.
I'm scratching my head here because I see it's 194 passing, 186 rushing for Michigan. I can't remember the last time a Michigan team got more yardage in the air than they did on the ground.
That is a very unusual statistic.
Gillette with a field goal to make it 3-0. That's the way the first quarter ended. And then a pass to Caddis, a 10-yard pass from Harbaugh in the second quarter with 3:34 to go. That was a 10-yard touchdown pass. The conversion by Gillette made it 10-0. That's the way the half ended, 10-0. Michigan in the third quarter got another pass from Harbaugh to Caddis, a 3-yard pass with Gillette's conversion make it 17-0. In the fourth quarter, another field goal from Gillette to cap off the scoring to make it 20-0. Denny Franklin, we'll get together next week.
See you next week.
Wisconsin.
Okay,
nice
Ray.
working with you.
Thank you.
And thank you, fans, for looking in. We'd like to remind you our free preview weekend continues tomorrow at 1 p.m. with harness racing from Hazel Park, followed at 1:30 by Major League Baseball as the Detroit Tigers host the Boston Red Sox live from Tiger Stadium. Our weekly look at the exciting world of auto racing is next with Inside NASCAR at 4 p.m. At 4:30, it's time for great college football action as
40th consecutive